There's an exciting new sound in travel. Introducing Ding. Get exclusive low fares sent directly to your desktop. Deals that are available only for a limited time and only by downloading Ding at southwest.com.
What would I do if I won Powerball? I'd buy courtside seats to every Suns home game! Yeah!
I'd retire and play a lot of golf. If I won Powerball, I'd buy another NBA team. Nah, I think I'm going to keep the one I got.
Buy your Powerball tickets from any Arizona lottery retailer today, and don't forget, you can multiply your winnings with Power Play. And think, if you won Powerball, what would you do?
With coaches Alvin Gentry and Phil Weber. A 6'7" guard from UCLA, number 1, Dejon Thompson. 6'9" forward from Brazil, number 99, Lucas Fischer. 6'1" guard from Arizona State, number 50, Eddie House. 6'8" guard from France, number 3, Boris Diaw. 6'9" forward from Xavier, number 55, Brian Grant. 6'5" guard from Florida International, number 19, Raja Bell.
Y'all ready for this?
And 6'7" forward from UNLV, number 31, Sean Marion. And now let's meet the white team with coaches Mark Ivaroni, Dan D'Antonio, and from SI, Jack McCallum. 6'3" guard from Oregon, number 20, Anthony Lieber-Pedroza. 6'11" center from Auburn, number 11, Pat Burke. 6'3" guard from Brazil, number 10, Leandro Barbosa. A 6'8" forward from Miami, number 22, James Jones. 6'9" center from Texas Christian, number 40, Kurt Thomas. 6'6" forward from Ohio State, number 21, Jim Jackson. And a 6'3" guard from Santa Clara, number 13, Steve Nash. Officials for tonight's game, Andy Rios, Chris Rastatter, and Glenn.
They break it up 7-on-7.
I got
Orange
the orange
versus
team.
white. I was about to say, who do you like right now?
I got the orange
You
team.
got, or Steve Nash is on the white team.
Steve Nash can't. I mean, Steve Nash is great, the MVP, but I look at Raja Bell over there, Eddie House, Sean Marion. I'm actually just taking them because Tim Kempton want the white team, so I had to take them. But I think they're going to do all right.
Because you like the orange uniforms better, I believe.
do. But I think Kurt Thomas and James Jones are going to give the orange team some problems. James Jones, I like him.
Yep.
I think he's going to be a real good player. Nice young player, can do a lot of different things. Very tall, can really shoot. And a great guy.
Yep.
Really is a nice guy.
Great guy. Again, going back to that character, that's a guy who's academic All-American in his days at the University of Miami. And I kind of like the white team, too, their head coach, at least for this evening.
Academic All-American at Miami?
Yeah.
Is he the first ever there?
I don't think there are a lot of football players on that
Holy
all-academic team.
cow.
How about that? Mark Ivaroni coaching the white team along with Dan D'Antoni, Mike D'Antoni's older brother who now joins the Phoenix Suns staff, and Jack McCullum. If you're familiar with
coaching the white team?
Yeah,
then
see?
I'm definitely taking the orange team.
Again, another connection with the Miami Heat. Man, how many people have
This is
passed through
Miami
Miami?
West.
It is. The orange team will be coached by Alvin Gentry, former NBA head coach for 3 different squads, and Phil Weber rounding out the coaching staff for the orange. And if you're wondering what is the reigning NBA coach of the year, Mike D'Antoni, doing, he's floating. He's just going to kind of watch and take it in. He doesn't have to coach either side. He can just, I guess, not choose sides as Dan Marley just has. But again, bypassing Steve Nash and the white squad for the early pick in this one. Kurt Thomas, Jimmy
Nash
Jackson.
with the haircut.
Steve Nash, there are a lot of kids out there that showed up for the first day of school and had their long locks and are going to be very disappointed to see Steve Nash taking off about 3 inches of the hair in the back. So the white team will go with Nash and Jimmy Jackson, along with James Jones, Kurt Thomas, and Leandro Barbosa. The orange bringing out Eddie House, Boris Diaw, Brian Grant, Sean Marion, and if Kurt Thomas would get out of the way, I would see Raja Bell. Our officials tonight, Andy Rios, Chris Rastatter, and Glenn Mayberry. We are up and away from the McHale Center in the heart of Tucson on the campus of the University of Arizona. And hearty round of boos for this gentleman, now bringing the ball up the floor, former ASU Sun Devil, Eddie House. They don't like anything about Sun Devils here in Tucson. Knocked out of bounds off of Sean Marion, but instant offense in Eddie House, another guy who spent some time in Miami.
Well, you're not kidding about the instant offense. This guy is not only a guy who is more of a two guard than a point guard, but can handle the ball, gets his own shot off very well, as you see Kurt Thomas with the jumper there from the top of the key. A very good shooting big man, one of the reasons why the Suns picked him up.
We'll see a lot of that. Steve Nash with the whip pass with the left hand, setting up Kurt Thomas. Very accurate from outside. Far away for three. Eddie House lights it up. And Eddie has had some big nights here at McHale Center in his days in the Pac-10 for ASU. Of course, everybody remembers Eddie in the 61-point game he had for the Devils against Cal in a triple overtime game. Steve Nash, oh, they remember him here in Tucson as well. We'll tell you that story. Barbosa going deep for three, answering the Eddie House jack from behind the line. And the Suns come out firing. Led the league in scoring last year at 110, and they want to keep that pace up this year.
Well, the new guys on this team are going to realize that their shooting percentages are going to go up big time here this year because they're playing with a guy like Steve Nash who tends to get people open very easily.
Jimmy Jackson taking the feed. He's shooting the three. Front iron. Nash trying to tip the rebound and finally swiped away there by Sean Marion, who leads the Suns break. Raja Bell has certainly picked up his offensive game over the past 2-3 seasons, coming over to the Suns as a free agent from the Utah Jazz. James Jones snatched away momentarily by Eddie House, and now he wants to take Eddie in the low block. James turns and fires over Eddie House, and the rebound into the hands of Raja Bell.
Well, you like the recognition there, James, knowing that he had Eddie on him, went right down the post and made a nice move just so it wasn't able to knock down the shot.
Wide open look for three for Raja in the corner. Boris Diaw, who does a little bit of everything, loses it out of bounds, but the orange team will have it. This is a guy very intriguing. Boris Diaw made the all-tournament team in the European Championships playing for his native France, and that's quite an accomplishment because two of his teammates did not make the all-tournament team, in Tony Parker and Mikael Pietrus, both also in the NBA. Sean Marion off the glass, and Boris Diaw is a guy who's going to fill up the stat sheet with rebounds, with assists. He could play some defense out there inside. Nice little leaner in the lane for James Jones. But I'm really intrigued to see how much playing time Boris Diaw can get. If there's one weakness to his game, it seems to be shooting.
Well, that's a guy who can do a lot of different things. He's very tall. You look at him out there, he looks like he can do a lot of different things, but you've got to be able to put the ball in the basket also. So that's one thing he should be able to work on. He's got enough good shooters on this team that they should be able to help him out.
So now I look to my left, and how long have we been joined by Mike D'Antoni?
He's been sitting here patiently for 10 minutes.
I've been listening to this stuff for about 5 minutes.
Did we say anything worthwhile?
Man, oh
somebody
man,
can give me like little heads up. I'm watching this great game.
Year.
Somebody, where's my producer here? Steve Koek is over there. I think he's working on his hot dog. Head coach Mike D'Antoni joining us here from McHale Center. Hello, Coach.
What's up, Tom?
How are you?
Good. How you
Sorry
doing?
we didn't bring you in a little sooner.
No, I was enjoying the game. I was enjoying the game. Not the banter, but the game.
All right, so you split up the squad. What are you looking to accomplish here tonight, Coach?
Well, yeah, a few things. We just the biggest thing is getting it on tape, and so we can analyze a little bit, find out where we need to work next week on our practices. Spacing is major for us, and that is something that we'll watch. Get the guys' legs, see who's in shape, who needs a little extra work, things like that.
Sean Marion with the left-handed finger roll. Give us your update and what you know about Amari Stoudemire and his knee condition right now.
It's just that we're in the process of really evaluating it and getting him to feel comfortable with the next step. And we'll know that, I think, any day now. He wants to get it done or not get it done, depending on what the other doctors tell him. We've had some different opinions, and we'll make sure we do what's best for Amari.
Brian Grant, his miss, tipped into the corner, into the hands of Eddie House. So many intriguing new players, too, to talk about. And Eddie with the ball. Let's start with him. What is he going to bring to the Suns team?
Right there, Bap. He's going to bring it right there. He's going to, every time he shoots the basketball, you think it's going in. There's times that last year that when Steve Nash went out of the game, we had a hard time putting up points. And we think Eddie will be able to continue with the pace that Steve sets. We don't want to slow it down. And he's a 16-point quarter guy waiting to happen. And and we'll be happy to have his burst of offensive firepower at different times during the year.
You know, with all the new guys on this year's team, you read a lot in the paper about chemistry and how's everything come together so far here in camp.
You know, it's good because we have a bunch of guys that really like to play. None of them are really selfish at all. And so the chemistry comes from, you know, locker room good guys and just learning how to play with each other. And if you know how to play basketball and you're not selfish, the chemistry will be fine. So I'm not really worried about that. It might, you know, take a little longer to get it done, but we're pretty happy with the group that we have.
You sure seemed to spoil the fans last year with that thrilling and exciting style of play, the 110 points per game. With a big man like a Kurt Thomas or Brian Grant on the floor, will that change the pace?
But, you know, I think to a certain degree, but we have always a guy trailing the play. They can trail. We're going to run with 4 guys. You normally run with 4 anyway. And Kurt and Brian and Pat Burke, they'll surprise you. They will also run. So, to be honest with you, I don't see why the pace or the production on the offensive end should change. We should get better. We've got better basketball players.
Kurt Thomas, we saw quite a bit of him, too, in early scrimmages before training camp as he heads to the line. That two-man game, we saw it early with Steve Nash. I mean, this is a very accurate 6'10" shooter, and he's going to bring, obviously, the toughness defensively, the rebounding. But have you been surprised by the offensive skills and his shooting acumen?
No, because he busted us a couple times last year. But the guy's a great shooter. You know, what's amazing about Kurt is he sets unbelievable picks. So if Steve Nash already has a favorite, he'll call Kurt over because it will free up Steve a lot. And they'll help on Steve, and Kurt can knock him down. So, you know, he's going to be really good for us.
Got our first time out, 3:14 to go here in the opening period. 15-7, white team leading the orange. Tom Leander, Dan Marley, joined by the reigning coach of the year.
You know, we had a little problem because on the orange team, Amari Stoudemire was going to be on that team. So we might have a little bit of I don't want to say a blowout, but a halftime general manager might have to make a trade.
Well, like I said, I picked the orange team, so if we get to beat 2 minutes, well, I had to because Tim took the white team. But bring Nash over the orange team for me.
Well,
so
you might want to suit up for the orange team in the second half. Maybe you
can lose by 30.
All right, Coach, we're going to let you go.
All right,
do your job. Thanks for joining us here on Suns.com as he hands the headset over to our next guest, Dan Marley.
Yeah, just to let you know, Steve Kerr has joined us
Great,
now.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, appreciate you. If I didn't have like a 6'6" NBA player next to me, or former NBA player like you, I would have seen him much sooner.
Not a very good point guard, Tom.
Nope. You know, I'm always looking at the hoop.
Steve, Coach D'Antoni sat here for like 15 minutes before Tom even noticed he was here. So
and, you know,
we're going to try to bring you in a little sooner.
Dan had my back. He never mentioned anything. I'm watching the game. We had like 3 3-pointers in the first 30 seconds. Mike's sitting here the whole time. So joined now by former Wildcat Steve Kerr. Good to be back in Tucson. How much time do you spend here in Tucson now? How much time do you spend here in Tucson now?
I've been here 5 or 6 times this year already. You know, I come back for golf tournaments and for alumni games.
Can you give me a parking pass? Because I couldn't find a place.
Parking is a little tough.
Yeah.
A little tough.
You have a basketball camp here too?
I have a camp here in August that I came back for, and brought my son to Lutz camp in June. So I'm back and forth quite a bit.
That's nice. All right, tell us your impressions of this team that adds 9 new faces going into the season after winning 62, getting to the Western Conference Finals. And, you know, obviously Amari's status, we talked with Mike D'Antoni, is up in the air right now. But do you like the looks of this team after a week of training camp?
Yeah, I do. I've had a chance to watch 7 or 8 workouts, and I'm impressed by the versatility of the team because a year ago that small lineup worked like a charm. They had some trouble defensively. They had some trouble against bigger lineups at times. I think this team is better equipped to guard people down low with Brian Grant and Kurt Thomas, and on the perimeter with Raja Bell. But I think Mike can still play that small lineup, moving Sean over the 4, and a lot of good young players. Eddie House is going to be a factor for this team.
Yep. James Jones coming over too. What can you tell us, and what do you know about James? I know in your work for TNT you get around the league, and he certainly was able to blossom last year after all the suspensions to that Pacers team. As Sean Marion majestically takes it in, pops out, and Brian Grant will head to the line.
Yeah, I saw James Jones with the Pacers. I did several of the games during the playoffs, and I was impressed by his poise. He's got a beautiful shooting touch, and I think he's going to be a guy who's going to fit right in. I mean, he's going to get a lot of open looks.
And, you know, in Indiana, you tend to get scolded when you take an open shot. Here, you're scolded if you don't.
Glad I never played in Indiana.
You know Rick Carlisle. He likes those 71-69 games. So I think I had a chance to talk to James yesterday. He was pretty excited about this offense.
Those are a lot of fun to broadcast too, aren't they? Those 71-69 games.
A lot of downtime.
Yeah, you and Marv can really spar, I think.
That's right.
Speaking of sparring, what's going on at halftime? Are you and Marley having a little shooting contest?
We're on the same team.
Oh, gotcha. Pat Burke.
Vinny, Steve, and I are going to be shooting threes for a charity, aren't we, Steve? For a U of A charity, I believe. Ooh. Eddie House better look out on that one.
Train wreck in there. Barbosa tried to go up and under. So you guys, you two, and Vinny Del Negro against...
No, we're just going to shoot 6 threes from different spots, and I think it's $1,000 a shot that we make, and that goes to a new facility for U of A.
Yeah, they're building a new practice facility here, and the proceeds from this game are going towards that, and so Robert Sarver is basing his donation on how many shots we make.
And that's a pretty safe donation.
He should have done it about 5 years ago. They would have made some money.
Barbosa knifing into the lane, and it falls for Leandro. Let's talk about Barbosa, Steve and Dan. I mean, here's a guy. This is really kind of a make-or-break season for him. He's in the 3rd year of his 3-year contract. Sparkled again, playing for Brazil in the Tournament of the Americas. Had 37 against Team USA. Talk about the importance of this season for Leandro.
Well, I like him as a player. I always have. He's just got to keep his confidence up. He's got to come out. He's got to play good defense, first of all. And you can see what he does with the ball. He's very quick. He gets to the basket. He's a strong finisher. He's got a funny-looking shot, but it seems to go in. So I've always liked him as a player. It's just he's got to keep his confidence up. He's got to come out. And when he's on the floor, he's got to use his body and play good defense.
Are there chances for Leandro to slide in there at that 2 spot, too? He just seems more comfortable when he doesn't have to have the pressure of running the offense.
Yeah, I agree. He's probably more comfortable either at the 2 or just sort of at the hybrid 1. You know, he can kind of be an in-betweener, but he's good enough defensively to play with Steve some in certain rotations, and I think he's got a chance to play some with Q and Joe Johnson gone. I mean, there's certainly more minutes there, so he's got a shot.
Again, had just another outstanding summer playing for Brazil, and he's got a fellow Brazilian now on the Sun squad. We have yet to see him. Lucas Tischer, who was signed as a free agent. Lucas is a beast, 6'9", and he is athletic. Could wind up playing definitely the first part of the season, at least in the NBDL. The Suns team will be located in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and coached by Michael Cooper. So now the NBDL aligning themselves with NBA franchises, and there through the lane, putting it up and in, Boris Diaw.
Wow, that's a nice move.
Very nice. He is so long. When he showed up for the first day of Media Day, look at how long he is and the different skills that he brings. Sean Marion rising up and comes crashing down.
Well, Eddie House knew on this team, but he knew exactly what to do with the ball there. Saw the matrix streaking down the middle and just made a nice little dish to him, and Sean obviously knows what to do. It went way above the rim and finished it. And Sean, again, looks in rare form, always in great shape, always ready to play. One of the most underrated players in this league.
That's a beautiful sight to see for Suns fans, wondering if that style of play will be back. But give us your impression quickly, Steve, on Boris Diaw. What do you know about him? He spent a couple of quiet seasons in Atlanta with the Hawks.
Well, he's incredibly versatile. He can play the point and he can play the 4. And the coaches are working him at both positions. Not so much at the 2 and the 3 because he's not a very good shooter. So it's going to be a question of where to fit him in. With the small lineup that Mike likes, I wouldn't be surprised to see him playing some 4 behind Sean and maybe backing up Steve a little at point. A very unique player. I mean, how many players can you say that about? He's either a 1 or a 4.
Yeah.
Not very often.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's been impressive when he's taking the ball down the court, jerking it off the glass. Do you need to go warm up or anything? I don't want to, take you away from the big halftime contest.
These days I need about half an hour to warm up. So.
All right.
I'll see you guys at halftime.
Thanks,
Dan,
Steve.
let's get that thing ready.
All right.
Carry me.
Steve Kerr, back here in Tucson, and so beloved. He is the golden boy of the old Pueblo, and man, he can't go anywhere without signing basketballs, caps, shirts, as he is right now as he leaves us courtside here. And they still remember and love Dan Marley as well. They know you here in Tucson. Well, let's give them a little update on our leading scorers here as we have a little over 19 seconds to play. And the white team leading the orange 19-15. We have Eddie House, had his quick 5 points early. Sean Marion and Brian Grant both with 4. And Jim Jackson has a bucket along with James Jones. Kurt Thomas has 4 along with Nash. Barbosa leading the way for the white team. He has 5. And we just saw checking in now with the ball, Anthony Lever Pedroza. And if you recognize the Lever portion of his name, that's because he is the son of former NBA star Fat Lever. Here comes DeJon Thompson setting it up for Raja Bell.
Hey, Tom, Van Arsdale, sit down next to us now.
Thank you. Thanks for the heads up at the buzzer.
This guy's got no peripheral
James
vision
Jones.
whatsoever.
He never did.
No. Van knows that. You know those Brophy point guards, they've got the blinders
Worst
on.
point guard I've ever seen.
No pass, shoot.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we just saw DeJon Thompson on the run out, and that leads us right into Dick Van Arsdale. I was there in the draft room when you guys selected DeJon late in the second round. So tell us about that decision and what he could possibly bring to the Suns team, or is he could be NBDL bound?
Well, Tom, who knows right now, but what we saw in DeJon that we liked a little bit was the fact that he had a great senior year. I think his coach at UCLA really helped him, Ben Howland. And he knows how to play. He passes the ball well. He can handle it. His shot is pretty good. He needs to get stronger, and I think he needs to play with a little more passion. But I think he's got some potential, and we'll have to wait and see where he winds up, whether he stays with the club or goes to Albuquerque.
What are you looking at me for?
You got anything for Van? I don't want to,
Did I cover it?
Yeah, you sure
I
did.
think that
I
was
just
a
don't
great
want him.
answer.
I didn't like it.
You know what? He gets on me for talking too much, and then I look at him. I give him
never
that
know
window.
Well, I got nothing to say.
I'll add one thing. In his first 3 years, he was a little bit passive and didn't do too much, but I think his last year is when he really blossomed. So it showed us that he had the potential to really become a better player. I mean, he's got a chance.
Talk about the NBDL, because this is a prime opportunity. It definitely has changed the whole structure as now NBA teams align themselves with certain franchises in the NBDL. Michael Cooper, the head coach of the Albuquerque team, which is where the Suns could eventually send 1, if not 2 players. First of all, how do they choose coaches for that? How does Michael Cooper get that position? Is that delegated by the NBA?
I think it's, I'm not really sure, Tom, but I think it's delegated by the NBA office.
Okay.
They like to give I think particularly ex-players a chance to start coaching, and it's a great opportunity for them. And for Michael Cooper in Albuquerque, that's where he played, and I think it'll be good for whichever player goes there, because we'll still have control of the player we send, and it's a new concept this year, and I like it a lot.
Yeah. So for you, does that mean added travel, not just from the college ranks, but now you have to go kind of scour the NBDL ranks?
We will. We'll go to Albuquerque and watch the guys play, and it'll give us an opportunity to see how they progress.
Man's got assistants to do that. He doesn't do that.
I'm going to send Marley over there.
He's got people below him that does that. Man doesn't have to do any of that.
When you have that senior VP in front of your name, you don't do any traveling unless you
Say,
go
John
Whatever he wants to
Shoemake.
do.
unless that plane stops over in Montana and there's fly fishing
There you go.
opportunities.
Now you're thinking.
Yeah,
there
there
you
we
go.
go.
You bet.
So, Ben, you've been here you watched most of this camp so far?
Yeah, I've been here since Monday.
What do you think of the new additions and how everything's working? Obviously, with Amari being out, it's kind of put a damper on things. But, I mean, I'm excited about guys like Raja Bell and James Jones and guys like I think our team's going to be a lot tougher and better defensively.
I think we'll be better defensively. We'll be a better rebounding team. We'll be stronger. I like the addition of Kurt Thomas a lot, Raja Bell. And I think there's more depth this year and more. I think Mike will be able to use more combinations and give guys a little more rest. So I know Steve's going to need some rest. Hopefully the point guards can help. I like Eddie House. I think Eddie House had a good camp.
I played with Eddie House in Miami. That guy can come in and just light it up.
He can shoot it, can't he? Yeah.
There's the feistiness of Raja Bell. You guys have both talked about it, and Suns players and fans will see this all season long. He was fighting Pat Burke down in the low block, and that's really how he gained his reputation getting into the league with Philadelphia as a defensive player, not only on a point guard, but he'll go battle the starting center.
He's like Marley. He's a coach's dream.
Not very bright, then.
Well, he's not real bright. But, the other thing we've got this year, too, is we have better shooting from the center. Pat Burke can shoot the ball. Kurt Thomas can shoot the 15 to 18-foot jump shot, and that's going to help take some pressure
Brian
off.
Grant's got a pretty good shot, too. He can
Yeah, I wouldn't put him in the high. I wouldn't put him
in the same category.
But he'll make a shot once in a while.
I seem to recall we were in Miami a couple years ago, and we were bagging on Brian Grant's jump shot, and lo and behold, he hits 4 in a row. Alley-oop attempt. House looking for Sean Marion, and back in for the white team.
Well, let me tell you, when you got centers who are 6'9 and 6'10 and 6'8, they better be able to shoot.
Yeah.
They're not going to be down with those 7-footers banging on the low post. So. But that's perfect for this team. We talked about, D'Antoni came over and said, one of Steve's favorite guys already is Kurt Thomas in the pick and roll, because not only does he set great picks, but then he can step out and shoot that jump shot.
There it is, right there.
You bet. He can. He's better than I thought. You know.
Plus, he led the nation in scoring his senior year.
And rebounding.
Yeah,
right?
so the guy can flat out score.
That's the ultimate trivia question. One of 3 players. Can you guys name the other 2 who in the college ranks led the nation in scoring and rebounding?
Wilt Chamberlain.
No.
I've heard, but I can't remember.
Xavier McDaniel, the X-Man, and Hank Gathers, Loyola Marymount. So Sean Marion lights it up, and we will, for the first time, see Lucas Tischer coming into the lineup. Pat Burke is chopped on his way to the hoop, and perfect opportunity to ask Dick Van Arsdale about Lucas Tischer, who's coming in. Look at the size of 99.
Body. He's very strong. He can jump. He can rebound. Doesn't have a great grasp of the game yet. He needs to work on his shot, but he is not afraid of anybody. He'll bang, and he's about 6'9", so
Number
needs
99.
a little experience.
What's he think he's in the NFL? Look at this guy.
He's got 90.
Now that's huge.
Yeah.
I read where he practiced kung fu for 10 years. So you don't want to mess with him.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How about that? That's a guy you want on
Leave
your
him
side.
alone. You bet.
Yeah.
I think he looks like Rodney Dangerfield. What do you think?
You know, I'm waiting for Marley to bring out the Jackson
think you should
Vroman
tell him
nose. Are you going to go for the Vroman? We've
Not from what I
replaced?
just heard. I'm not going to leave him alone all
Okay.
year. I'm not going to say a word.
Yeah, that's true. Vroman wasn't quite as beefy as Tischer.
No, I could
You
take
may want to be a little
Vroman.
careful.
I
Tischer, you don't want to mess. Hey, Dan, even you might not want to mess with Tischer.
I'm not going to mess with him.
No.
A little beef down there with Kurt Thomas and Tischer, but he is an amazing athlete, Van. I've seen him during workouts. I mean, he goes in for dunks, and he has to duck his head from the rim. I mean, he can get up for a big guy.
He can get up. Has a nice little jump hook. And he's aggressive right there. He gets the offensive rebound.
How much does it help him having Leandro Barbosa on the squad, both Brazilians?
Probably very little.
Very little.
I've never seen them talk to each other. No,
That is funny.
All right.
They really hate each other.
Next
Tom,
question,
by the way.
Dan Marley. Dan gets the next question. Dang. Jim Jackson fills it up. You know, it's so funny, too, because there's so many new players that you want to talk about, and you forget to talk about Sean Marion in his 20 and 10. You forget to talk about Jim Jackson, who's back and was so clutch last year, especially when Joe Johnson went out.
Jim Jackson's amazing. What a great body. Got to be 35 years old in a week.
Yep. Enjoyed a little vacation time in South Africa. He went there along with Mark West, and then Mark West went back to the States, and apparently Jim Jackson then went on to a safari and had quite the experience. But we want to thank Dick Van Arsdale for joining us. Thanks for coming by, Van.
Just put my check in the mail, will you?
You guys, Steve Koek is right
Steve?
there. He's got the checkbook.
If you get a check, let me know. I don't get one.
Dan got a Mountain
If
Dew.
I get
That's
one, I'll
about
split it with you,
Thank
Dan.
you.
Okay.
Actually, I think you had to pay for that.
Hey, I'll
Mountain Dew.
see you in
I saw you pass
Albuquerque,
at 20.
Dan.
Okay.
Save me a seat.
Hey, we can have fun over there.
Yeah, we could.
Planning the road trips already. From the outside, Raja Bell sticks it. So a direct hit for Raja Bell. Could be playing some 2, some 3 for the Suns. And now Raja grabbing the defensive rebound. And on the run out, Dejon Thompson. They get instead to Brian Grant. Straight but short. Marion on the pogo stick. And the orange team will maintain possession. And here comes James Jones. So here we are with 6:21 to go in the second quarter. First half from McHale Center, the Suns scrimmage. And they will embark on their preseason schedule. We mentioned the first game in the preseason in Seattle on the 14th, and then they are home at the America West Arena the next night against the LA Clippers. Tischer, a little short and wide left, but again, playing for the Suns, you're allowed to hoist it up at any time. And I believe we have a moving screen on the white squad. Anything jumped out at you so far, Thunder Dan, here in the first half?
Not really. I just think these guys are ready to get out of here. These scrimmages are never beautiful things. I mean, you got guys out here running and trying to get some things done. And I think with Amari being out, I think guys maybe be a little down. But I just wanted to see a couple guys shoot. I'm really excited about Raja Bell. I think he's going to be a very good player for this team. Like I said before, playing with Nash, he's going to get a lot of wide open looks, and I look for his percentage to continue to go up. I'm really excited about James Jones. I think Barbosa could have a good year for this team if he keeps his attitude right. And I'm excited about the team. It all obviously depends on Amari Stoudemire's health, and hopefully he'll come back and be healthy for most of the year. But this is going to be another exciting team to watch.
Raja and Nash went back-to-back with the jumpers, and now it's Brian Grant. And
Tom, I got Vinny Del Negro.
I thought I was going to have to tell you that.
That's my boy.
I saw Vinny before
that's my
you
boy.
saw
I can
Vinny.
make him wait. It doesn't even matter.
Vinny Del Negro, our next guest here on Suns.com.
Hey, happy to be with you, you guys. It's a lot of fun here, isn't it?
Where you been?
Just hanging out watching this great game.
Where were you sitting?
courtside over there.
No, I forgot.
Next to Al McCoy.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Where would you want to say
Shazam!
that? Shazam.
What a shot.
Stringo the
Ringo the Zings.
What a shot. What a bugger.
Brian Grant in and out. Then you talk about, you know what? It's so fun, too, to talk about broadcasters and how much fun it was last season as James Jones lights it up from the outside. You do the games with Al McCoy on the radio. I mean, isn't it a pleasure to broadcast Phoenix Suns games in the style of play?
Oh, it's great. I mean, it's exciting every night. Obviously, it'll be a lot more exciting if Amari's his health is in the right situation. But I think it's going to be. But, watching Steve Nash and Sean every night is just great. And like Dan just commented on, I think the additions are going to be a big help to this team.
Let me tell you what, though. Tischer better find his way into the paint because that guy's hoisted 2 jumpers, and not only does he walk before he shoots it, but he's chipping the paint on the rim.
How about that last move, though, by Kurt Thomas, who gave Raja Bell the slip? He goes over as if he's going to set the pick and then just slides to the hoop. He and Nash seem like they already have their chemistry developed.
Kurt Thomas is so used to playing physical basketball in the Eastern Conference with the Knicks and pick and rolls, what they did a lot, and he's going to get a lot of pick and rolls with Nash. He's a great shooter, Kurt Thomas, so I think that's going to be something teams are going to have to really deal with.
And now we have the new Phoenix Suns dance team. We got to check out the new talent out here at center court. I know Tom is anxious to see what kind of talent they brought in this year.
Well, I enjoy doing the play-by-play for each of their performances. All right, one thing we have not talked about, Vinny Del Negro, let's take you around the Western Conference and where the Suns' stiffest competition will come from. Let's start with the Sacramento Kings and the fact that they bring in Sharif Abdul-Rahim. They get Bonzi Wells, and they're trying to turn that situation around. And Mike Bibby says he's ready to take over that team. Still have Peja Stojakovic.
Well, I mean, when you got Peja Stojakovic and Bibby, that's a handful right there. Bonzi Wells is tough on the blocks. Raheem can get it going a little bit, but defensively, they've never been at the level they needed to be. I didn't think to win a championship. They had the Chris Webber era and those things. They've had some injuries in the past couple years, but they're going to be better with those guys. But overall, as far as the Suns go, I think the Suns' stiffest competition, as everyone will say, is obviously still the Spurs. That's the only team that the Suns really don't match up with perfectly because of Duncan. But bottom line is no one really matches up great against Duncan because he's so good. But defensively, the Suns have to get better. With Raja Bell and Kurt Thomas, they'll have that ability. If Amari's health is there, obviously the Joe Johnson's going to be a loss. I mean, but with with Eddie House, who can be very explosive, with Raja Bell, with the guys they have, they can make up a lot for what Joe Johnson did and add the defense, which I think really will help Mike D'Antoni.
Yep. Within their own division, Sacramento. Then you have the LA Lakers and
they'll
Phil Jackson. How much of an impact, can Phil have on this team? Because really, you go up and down that roster, and it's not going to strike fear.
Phil's got to be able to come in and average about 15.
12 boards, 6 steals, and they'll have a shot. But Kobe Bryant's so fun to watch. He's such a competitor. They'll win basketball games, and they'll steal some wins on the road. So the Lakers coming to town with Phil and Kobe will be an exciting game, and they'll be better, but they don't have the personnel
Don't
to
they
be
have
dominant.
Kwame Brown?
Yeah, Kwame.
He
might be better.
Maybe Phil can turn
if
him
he shows
around.
up for practice.
That helps.
That'll help.
Yeah, a little effort, a little, on time thing. He's young. He's
I mean, what do you want?
Yeah, come on.
Don't only make $7 million a year. What do you want, to be on time?
Well, let's talk about Golden State Warriors, because that's a team that finished with a flourish. Baron Davis shows up, and they went on a run, and there's a lot of optimism in the Bay Area.
I'll tell you, Baron Davis, he's one of those guys who can get anywhere on the court whenever he wants, and if he's healthy and his back is healthy, he makes that team go. Boy, they can be really tough to beat.
They had former ASU Sun Devil Ike Diagu
out
of the draft. Raja Bell fills it up from the corner.
He'll help them, too, because of Baron Davis. Ike Diagu can score the basketball. I saw him in preseason at some of the Suns training things. He can score the ball.
Yep. Still have Petrus over there, Jason Richardson, Mike Dunleavy,
Troy
Murphy, a host of good young talent there in Golden State. That seems to be kind of the sleeper choice going into this season. Nash working over Brian Grant. Stays right with Nash, and now 2 on the shot clock for James Jones. Slings it up.
Why
and
not?
Hits it for 2.
Who didn't know that?
He's going to be a good player. He has a nice stroke, nice rotation on his ball. He's tall, he has long arms, very polite kid. He's young. Still got to learn the NBA game a little bit, but here he'll get a chance to play, and he's going to get better.
Starting to see who will fill up that three-point stat sheet in the departure of Quentin Richardson and Joe Johnson. We've seen James Jones, Raja Bell certainly has the range, and Eddie House hit a couple of early threes. So the Suns definitely have the firepower to continue spacing the floor, because that really was the biggest concern coming into camp.
Well, now obviously against Nash, what are you going to do? You're going to make the other guys beat you from outside. Last year when Nash penetrated, everybody was so worried about Joe and Quentin from downtown, And the Suns ran away with a lot of games because all of a sudden when those guys got hot, the three-point land, they blew the games open. You played Sun style of basketball, and people were chasing Nash and Amari and those guys around the court. So it'll be interesting to see how they can produce those points with the lineups they have.
Actually, I'm very interested to see how Vinny, Marley, and Kerr shoot at halftime.
Don't be too interested.
No. It's going to be. I hope everybody goes to the concession stand.
Is there going to be any money going to charity
I hope
or
the
to the U of A Foundation?
I hope the restrooms are full because it's going to be ugly.
Right when Robert said that, we were all looking for the Flexol. My shoulders started hurting. Dan was rubbing Flexol on his knees. Steve was stretching. It was ugly. I'm hoping we can shoot layups to make money.
First time the radio announcer and TV guy are going to get booed at halftime.
Wait, you know they're not booing Steve Kerr, so if there are any boos,
that's true.
It's not headed his way. That's for darn sure.
We're
not here at McHale Center.
And I wasn't even a three-point shooter. I was in the, I liked it inside the line. But I'll heave it up there. I'll walk out of here with a hernia.
You're an athlete.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Final little analysis on the golf game. Everybody.
Golf game was
yes.
La Paloma playing a beautiful course.
Nice
there.
course.
Fun.
Yep.
People were very nice. Very slow round. Aggravated Thunder a lot. He was.
Well, we had 4 guys.
Is that why he was so chippy
Listen
tonight?
to me. We had 4 guys playing in front of us. I thought it was the U.S. Open. I mean, there is such a thing. If you got a foot putt, you can give it to him.
And it was not good.
Plumb bobbing from a foot, and you're betting a quarter. Are you kidding me?
And he didn't. Thunder didn't have any dip in his mouth, so he was going out of his mind.
This guy's plumb bobbing.
By the way, after the third hole, it rained for 2 holes on us. And when's the last time it rained in Arizona on us playing golf? About 8 years ago.
Oh, James Jones, after slapping away the hand of Eddie House, and he'll try to finish off a 3-point play. And look at Eddie House barking. You talk about replacing the 3-point shooting of Quentin Richardson. Who's going to replace kind of that fire that he brought to the locker room? Many people are pointing at Eddie House.
And Eddie House is an explosive player, man. He can shoot the basketball. He'll fit the system very well. He can play the 1 and the 2, obviously. He's kind of has a point guard body, but a 2-guard mentality. And he can fill it up. I think he can be really productive for the Suns at that position, with Barbosa maybe going to the 2 and using that athleticism.
And he's still over there chirping with the official.
Well, this is a big game.
He's falling back to his college days. He thinks he's
playing
for ASU right now. He's here at U of A.
He's over here yelling at Lute Olson.
Yeah.
Hey, Vinny, what is plumb bobbing?
Lining up your putt and doing all that with your eye and the putter.
Yeah,
is that what it
I
is?
never putter out front of you.
I've never done it because I don't know how to
it.
do it.
Okay,
If
gotcha.
you see somebody plumb bobbing,
You're in trouble. It's
Yeah.
going to be a while before they're getting
that and iron covers. If you see somebody's got iron covers in his bag, that's bad.
Raja Bell, wide left and jerked out of there by Kurt Thomas.
And wearing 2 golf gloves.
One of those things, to retrieve balls in the pond and all
And
that.
then they switch from the,
you're 14
the
clubs,
iron
yeah.
and the golf clubs for hitting the iron and the
If you're
drives
14
to the putter.
clubs, the ball retriever, you're bad.
Leandro Barbosa on target from 3-point range. White team leading the Orange now 40-31. Final seconds of the second quarter, and we'll have ample time to take a break here. And Suns.com viewers and listeners will get Cedric Sabalos and Jamie Morris at halftime. Little foul from behind as Marion was making his way down the other end. You guys, the nerves have to be settling in about this time. You have about 28 seconds. Are you guys shooting in that? What are you guys shooting
What do you want us to
in?
change? Kidding me?
Yeah.
I can roll out of bed and make 2 out of 3 threes. I'll tell you that much right now. Not that I'll make them tonight. I got my dress shoes on, but I want to see Diao take a shot.
Well, we saw
No,
that
you
one
don't.
drive.
No,
That's
you
what I'm
don't.
saying. I know I don't.
No,
but
you don't.
You want to see him take an outside
I want to
shot.
see him take an outside shot.
Okay.
He's had a few opportunities, and he's
Boris looks like a
taking
point
it to
4.
the-
You don't
Yep.
say that. He's like he handles the ball well. He has the size. He has a great feel for the game, and he's young.
That was a nice little throw-in for that Joe Johnson deal, and really the Suns did a marvelous job of not losing Joe Johnson for nothing.
brilliant.
Picking up some draft picks, and Boris Diaw in the process. Nash crossing over. And from the outside now, Jim Jackson. And
Oh, we're going to see him shoot here.
Here comes Boris from half court.
That was pretty.
And almost jammed in by Sean Marion. So a quick change here as we head to halftime. Not Cedric Sabalos, Tim Kempton, and Jamie Morris will be joining you here.
I got to stretch.
Suns.com, Vinny Del Negro, Dan Marley.
Thanks for having me,
warming
guys.
up
Good to
for
see
the
you, Lee.
Little
see you,
three-point
T.
shot.
Hey,
Vinny,
Vinny, come see
great
us
to
again.
have
Thanks,
you.
Love you.
Love you.
Bye.
Take care. All right, we'll take a break here. Jamie Morris, Tim Kempton coming up next here on Suns.com, live from McHale Center.
There's an exciting new sound in travel. Introducing Ding. Get exclusive low fares sent directly to your desktop. Deals that are available only for a limited time and only by downloading Ding at southwest.com.
We're here back at McHale Center with Jamie Morris and Tim Kempton. Jamie Morris, nothing but net. What's going on, Jamie?
Oh, not a whole lot. How you doing, Timmy?
I'm doing very well, thank you. A good start to training camp. Now, Jamie, a lot of people don't understand what goes on into putting this game on, but a new venue this year for the Phoenix Suns, McHale Center, Tucson, Arizona. Normally, for the past years, Suns have had training camp up in Flagstaff. Give us a little bit of what you do and the stuff that you get going for the Suns in training camp.
You know what, Tim, you're right. This is the first year it's been in Tucson at McHale Center, and I think it has a lot to do with Mr. Sarver being from the U of A. We've had a weekend full of activities down here in Tucson with all the owners and their families coming down here for a family fun weekend, if you will. From a family fun day today with the players and a bunch of different interactive stations they did here, as well as a party that Mr. Sarver hosted last night, and then just kind of entertaining the families and the kids. And it's a time where all the families can come together and get to know each other, and they get to spend time with the players, they get to spend time with the other owners and the owners' kids, and a bunch of fun activities. But I think that everybody's having a great time, a great turnout here. And like I said, since it's being the first year down here, I think that who knows where it's going to be in the future, but I think that this is a great venue.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. You know, especially Tucson, we know how strong of a basketball community is with the U of A and all their connections, and obviously Robert Sarver, Steve Kerr, Lute Olson, the connections there to the Phoenix Suns. So have you been able to get out and do anything, or has it been all work for you?
You know what? It's been pretty much all work for me.
Oh.
But you know, I've enjoyed it. You know, I have to tell you, I am a Sun Devil. I went to Arizona State University, so
It's been a little rough coming into the building every day, huh?
it's been very rough. Breathing Wildcat over here. But you know what? I've enjoyed myself. I've been helping out a lot with the owners and their families. It's been nice to get to know them, and I think everybody's having a great time.
And the Phoenix Suns, definitely different ownership group. A lot of people know that Robert Sarver is basically the point man for that. And all the years before that, it was Jerry Colangelo, and basically he headed up that group. But there are quite a few owners that are very, very in the forefront of this Phoenix Suns team. So some of the people know Robert Sarver. Who are some of the other owners out there that maybe some of the fans don't know quite as well?
You know what? There's a number of Suns legacy partners that are a part of this ownership group. You know, the Hiltons are our owners. We've got Byron Roth in his group. We've got Dick Heckman of K2, Sam Garvin, and on and on. I mean, there's been a number of owners that I've met for the first time this weekend who are fabulous people who, kind of are behind the scenes that are really make this organization what it is.
And Robert is definitely, Mr. Sarver has gone out of his way to make sure that everybody stays involved. A lot of times when you have that big of an ownership group, for example, such as Mr. Colangelo, Jerry, he was the point man for also a group of investors, but they kind of stayed in the background.
Sure.
With this group, Mr. Sarver, Robert, has done a great job. He wants everybody to be involved with it, and everybody comes to the forefront. We got all their kids running around down here. Last night you mentioned that party that Cedric Ceballos kind of emceed, and the kids were out there dancing around the pool and everything. So a different ownership group, different way to do things, but so far been very successful.
Absolutely. And Tim, I don't know if we've talked about the game at all, what's been happening out here. I know that everyone's having more fun than it is an actual game, if you will. But what are your thoughts on this Suns team this season?
Well, when you look at it and the team goes 62-20 and you only bring back 5 players, everybody, oh my gosh, what's going on? They're blowing up a team that was very successful last year, but I think they've done it in a very, very smart and creative way. They've brought in free agents. They've signed some young guys. They've really molded this team around the cornerstone, Steve Nash, Amari Stoudemire, and Sean Marion. You got James Jones, who comes in, who's a very young, athletic, 6'6" player. You got Eddie House, who can absolutely fill it up. You got Raja Bell, who's going to be a much better defensive player, which will add. You have the inside with Kurt Thomas and Brian Grant. So the IQ of this team has gone up. Their defensive ability has gone up. And I think overall, surprisingly, they've gotten better even after they went 62-20 and only bring back 5 guys from last year.
Absolutely, Tim. I also think, too, with a lot of veterans joining this team, the Suns are going to have a very successful season.
Well, it's been a great mix. You know, you got the young guys like Raja Bell, who's younger, but then you have people like Brian Grant coming over. You have Kurt Thomas, who's been around the league. Then you have the mix of Amari and Sean. People, especially Sean. Sean's been around Phoenix for a number of years now. Sure. People have to remember he's still only 24, 25 years old. Amari Stoudemire, 23 years old. These guys have a great mix of veterans and young guys, and they have great leadership in Steve Nash out front.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be an exciting season this year, running up and down the court again as they did last year. And I think Suns fans have a lot to look forward to. Oh,
I think so. A lot of people, obviously, there were some disappointments in losing Joe Johnson. But, come out and wait till the proof is in the pudding. Wait till you see a couple of games. Watch these guys out on the floor, and then make your judgments, because Brian Colangelo has proven that he knows what he's doing as a general manager, and he's done it again. He's brought in some quality players in some quality positions, and these guys are going to be just as exciting, if not more so, than last year.
Absolutely. Here's that guy, Ced Ceballos, my co-host of Nothing But Net. Hey, Cedric Ceballos, what's going on?
Am I live? Where am I at?
Smile, you're up there. Up there.
Hey.
There you go. Ced, what's going on?
Well, I tell you, you think that guys that have been out of the NBA for a couple of years can't shoot? And they lost their touch?
Shooting's the last thing to go. You know it's the legs that go first, Ced.
But I tell you, Steve Kerr just made 5 out of 5 from sitting down. That's unbelievable right there. I mean, I know me and you are excellent shooters, but that's incredible from sitting down over there. You get right up and knock down 5 for 5 for 3.
Exactly. Hey, Ced, we're talking about all the festivities that went on with the family last night. We had a couple of calls. Everybody heard about your great work emceeing the party last night. A couple of people want to know if they can rent you out for some weddings and bar mitzvahs and everything.
Yeah, just log on to suns.com as you are right now. We'll get you your party going. Your quinceañeras, everything that you can do. I'll get it for you.
Everybody wants you to do the hokey pokey.
I'll tell you what, they did lay it out last night. It was a great event. Rusty?
Rusty?
It was Rusty, and also Jim Pittman. What's Pittman, right?
Yeah, it's everybody's
Pittman's
birthday.
40.
He was 40 years old.
40 years old, big 4-0 for Jim
That's
Pittman.
great. I'll tell you what, the cake, the ice cream, it had the mixture of both. I mean, it had a little kid feel to it, and it had a wonderful adult feel to it.
The macaroni and cheese was the best thing on the menu.
Is that right? Well, I didn't have the mac and cheese. I should have had the mac and cheese.
You should have had the mac and cheese.
All right.
Ced, first impressions on the team. You've seen them in training camp. You've seen them here tonight. First impressions.
Well, obviously, Amari's not here, and I think the quickness that we have here defensively is going to be great for us. The 2 inside players that we acquired with Kurt Thomas and also Brian Grant, just unbelievable. I mean, I've seen them now the first half just banging at each other, getting the feel on how they're going to play. And I think most importantly is the team is not really used to that banging inside, that unbelievable play, defensive intensity from that position. So I think it's going to be a big change and a big adjustment for them also.
Well, you know what'll help, Cedric, and I think you make a great point. Over the long run, now the guards have a lot more confidence out front. They'll play a little bit, sometimes gamble a little bit more. But they know they have those guys in the back with a little bit more defensive presence. Everybody picks up. Everybody starts playing a little harder.
Yes, it does. And you can start with the MVP, Steve Nash, because he hasn't even played with a person in the background who can also defend like that. So it's a great situation for him. And I'm getting out of here because JJ's here to talk. And we're going to wrap it up with Ced.
Thanks, Ced. Hey, Jimmy Jackson, what's happening?
Chilling at halftime.
Are you having a good time?
Having a great time.
Jimmy, basketball-wise, you guys go 62-20. The team basically gets built all over again. What do you think about the new guys coming in?
I mean, we're going to miss Joe and everybody, and Q and Bo and Jake and everybody like that, man. It was a great team, and you don't win 62 games for nothing without having a great group of guys. But for us, we got some good guys coming in also. I think they can fill the void. We just got to learn each other and, try to eclipse that 62 win.
Who are you most excited to play with this year, Jimmy?
Everybody, but it's special because Brian Grant, we played together in Portland and Miami, but then also Eddie House. The three of us, Brian, myself, and Eddie, were together in Miami also. So it's kind of like a little reunion.
And I was with Eddie at ASU.
Is that right?
That's right.
They didn't boo you, though. They booed Eddie. They didn't boo you.
Hey, Jimmy, you talk about those new guys coming over. Talk about defense going inside. Now you guys have a little presence inside. Is it carrying over to everybody else?
Well, it is. And Brian and Kurt are very, very aggressive inside. And they'll help us out a lot inside as far as pounding the board. So it'll be great for us.
Good. Good luck second half.
Thanks, Jimmy. Hey, this is how we do it. We just pull people at halftime. Wish we could do this all the time.
Yeah, Suns.com. How about we do this during the regular season?
Yeah.
Here they go. The superstars are coming back.
We're getting booted out of here.
No,
they want to. Oh, it's Tommy Leander going to join us right here. All right, so I gotta tell you, Tim Kempton, you gotta come join Seth and I on our show. We're gonna be hosting Nothing But Net again every Thursdays.
I'd love to.
And
is there room for another guy there?
You know what? There's always room for you, Timmy.
Oh, okay. Well, I appreciate that.
We love getting you talking Suns basketball. Go in depth.
Now, how has the webcast and all the internet stuff gone from your side? Obviously, you put it out there, but what's been the response back?
You know what? It's been a great response. There's been great ratings, not only just for the Nothing But Net show, but just everything in general as far as the webcast is concerned. From videos to interviews to press conferences to everything that the Suns have been doing online has just been a turning point for this organization. Being able to get in the locker room and see what our players are doing. I mean, you can't see that anywhere.
Now they're giving us the wrap up. Guys are coming back out on the floor. Tom Leander and Dan Marley. They're kicking live, us out. Ladies and gentlemen.
Jamie, you did a great job. Good job, Jamie. Beautiful. Way to carry Tim.
Way to go. I'm sure they were phenomenal. I didn't get a chance to hear Jamie and Tim Kempton, but we appreciate their efforts here on the halftime show on Suns.com. We begin the second half. Tom Leander, Dan Marley, producer Steve Koek, and an array of guests. And they keep flooding in. Bill Frieder.
Hey, we got Coach Frieder over here, Tom.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate you.
How you
At
guys
least
doing?
I saw this coach. I didn't see the first coach that showed up. Mike D'Antoni sat here for about 10 minutes before I noticed him.
He probably got nervous and got out of here.
That's why Coach never recruited you out of, where'd you go to school? Brophy?
BBRO, and NCO, Brophy Broncos. How are you doing, Coach Frieder?
I'm doing great. What do you guys think? How's it going?
You know what? I like what we've seen from this high-octane offense. Again, both squads. It looks like the Suns are going to be filling up the scoreboard again.
Yeah, I think they're going to be better than people think, and I think you got more depth this year.
Yep. Kurt Thomas can shoot the ball. Comes up a little short there. What's it like for you to come over here to McHale Center? The fans still give you a hard time after coaching at ASU, or no?
You know what? Because of the commercials that Lute and I did, I've always been well received in Tucson.
Okay.
And I've had a lot of fun with the Tucson people. And I do games down here 3-4 times a year, so, you know, it's kind of bridged the gap a little since I've got out of coaching.
Quick 20-second timeout. Mark Ibaroni. Coach, I want to ask you, were you able to watch the three-point shooting exhibition? Vinny Del Negro, Dan Marley, Steve Kerr.
I commented on all of them, especially Marley. I said, that Marley can still shoot the basketball.
3 of 6. I was keeping stats over there. Vinny Del Negro goes 5 of 6.
I didn't know I didn't put the orthotics in my dress shoes, so I didn't have the same feeling out there.
And
but
Steve
Kerr, how
it's
about
all 5, and then his son
brings in the son for the last shot, and he happens to drill
what
it.
A pressure shot!
Runs in the family. You could see him just. As soon as he made that shot, his son was like, "Thank goodness!"
God. Yeah, after his dad had hit 5 of 5, and that's his son Nick, who is how old?
13, 12 years old.
12 years old.
That was something else. So all the money raised going to the new U of A practice facility, but
he'll end up here.
Coach, tell me about Eddie House. I played with him in Miami. He's a great shooter, but I think this is a guy that's really going to bring a lot of energy and scoring punch to the Suns team.
You know what? I thought last year, any time Steve Nash went out of the game, I thought it was just a drop off. There was, it was like a disappointment. He was going out, and things kind of just pull back. And you mentioned, I think Eddie will at least give you some energy. He'll come and he'll give you a little fire. I followed his career, obviously. He played for me at ASU for 1 year, and I brought him there. and he's really matured now in the league. I think he's ready to maybe give a team what they need, and they'll need. I think anytime Nash was out of the game last year and you were down 12, you couldn't come back. Eddie's the type of guy who can help you come back if Nash isn't in the game.
Give us a little thumbnail sketch of Eddie House, since you were the one that recruited him. I think he came out of the Bay Area, said he was a big Jason Kidd fan, and how he developed. Again, when he got to the NBA, not sure one or two, he has the point guard skills to run the offense.
I think he's improving there. When we recruited him, he was a great shooter. In fact, I told him when I recruited him, he was the best shooter I recruited since Glenn Rice. I recruited Glenn at Michigan, and he turned out to be a great shooter at 61 points in a Pac-10 game, tied the Pac-10 record against Cal. But, he had the problem in the league and still has a little of that in-between size, too small for a 2, and, he's not quite good enough at a 1. But I think his 1 skills have improved. He set up a couple baskets here today, moved the ball nicely, and I think he's going to help this team at a 1.
You've had a chance, I know, to be here at camp the last couple of days for sure. And any chance to visit with Lute Olson and get a little prospectus on the upcoming U of A Wildcat team?
You know what? I talked to Lute at length. We were together in Vegas for a Jordan fantasy camp. In fact, he works for me there, and I'm going to see him tomorrow in Cleveland at a birthday party. But we keep in touch. He keeps me up to date. I visited with some of the Wildcats that are over there, and he thinks he's going to be very good. He's going to be disappointed if they don't win the conference.
Talk about from a coaching standpoint as back to live action here. Pass intercepted by Marion. And on the runaway comes Sean Marion. Talk about the coaching technique and philosophy of Mike D'Antoni and how wonderful it is for these NBA players to be in such a system.
You know what? Mike's a player's coach. He obviously he has a certain amount of rules and discipline, etc., but he doesn't restrict his players. He lets them play. Just like you saw there, Roger Bell knocks down the jumper out of transition. He's not the type of coach that praises you when you make 2 in a row and then gets on you when you miss 3 in a row. If it's a good shot, he'll let you shoot it, and that's why why these Suns are high scoring and why they like to play for him.
But again, you have to mix in some defense. Eddie Howe's just off the mark, and the Suns have done that, Coach, and you know the importance of defense. They bring in Raja Bell, Kurt Thomas, Brian Grant, some guys that are going to be some feisty defenders out there.
Well, you're right, and I think...
what a shot by Nash.
He's a great one, isn't he? I do think, I think we're going to be better than people think. Obviously, all the controversy over Joe Johnson, but I think we're going to be much better than people think. Because we can rebound a little better and because we can play some interior defense a little better because of Kurt Thomas and others. And I think it's going to be a good team. I think they're going to match up better defensively when they have to.
Speaking of defense right there, right past his defender, Eddie House went Steve Nash, crossing him over. Of course, I'm not going to let you go until we talk little Suns basketball camp.
Well,
how was the camp this summer in Prescott?
The camps was a win-win, A+. We had our biggest numbers ever at both Thunderbird and Prescott. One of the highlights was Robert Sarver coming up to Prescott and spending 2 full days. He's just incredible with kids and the energy he brings. And it's a great camp. And of course, the Suns do a great job with all their alumni. Dan Marley has been out to our camp, and all the alumni who come up, and the players like Sean Marion, DeJohn Thompson came up, and it's a great camp. I don't even come on as much anymore because with the way the team's playing, there's so much interest. We're going to be sold out quickly. But the number is 602-594 camp for anybody that's interested.
All right, Coach, thanks as always
for
joining
number
us.
down?
I sure did. I've got that thing
He's
memorized.
got it.
594
He
camp.
needs to go. That's what I'm saying. He needs to do a 10.
Hey, one other quick note. I talked to Eddie House at length last night. I said, well, what's the number one thing that's been tough for you? Guarding Steve Nash every day. Yeah. So we all understand that.
Well,
right?
Steve Nash is going to have a hard time guarding Eddie House in practice, too. So it's going to go both ways. But I'm excited about Eddie House. I'm excited about Raja Bell. We've seen him. He's shooting the ball very well from 3 here in the scrimmage. And we're going to see guys with their shooting percentage go up because they are going to get extra looks playing with guys like Eddie and Steve Nash.
Yeah, Raja's a nice shooter. I think your guard situation off the bench is probably going to be by committee, isn't it? Yep. Depending on matchup and how people are playing, etc. Yep. But thanks, guys. Have a good second half.
Coach, always good to see you.
talk about the success story that Raja Bell is, Dan. He really is an amazing story. A guy who came out of Florida International, undrafted, played in the IBL, the CBA, played in Europe. And, the story now has been told he was actually sitting at a Denny's with his father, was playing in a YMCA league at the time, and got the call from the Philadelphia 76ers. But this is a self-made professional.
Well, you see guys around like, Bruce Bowen, guys like that. Teams need guys who are ready to do the little things, play defense, set the mean pick, go out there every night and compete, be a good guy in the locker room, and then hit open shots when you have them. Raja Bell is a guy who got in the league because he plays good defense. He's a competitor, and now you're starting to see him become a better shooter, just like Bruce Bowen, who couldn't shoot a lick when he first came in the league, was known as a defensive player, and then all of a sudden he leads the league in three-point percentage. And a guy who just knows his role and is not afraid to go out and do it every night and accepts what he has to do, and every team needs a guy like that.
Eddie House, again, launching from the corner, unable to find the mark. And, going back to Raja Bell, certainly earned the respect of his coach in Utah, Jerry Sloan, and was named one of the co-captains of that team in Utah. So kind of surprising, too, that they really let him walk as a free agent because he was not a high-priced free agent. The Suns gave him a nice, lucrative 5-year deal, but it wasn't in the max variety.
Well, yeah, he hasn't proven to be that type of player yet. He's a good role player, guy who come in, and this is going to be a perfect situation for him because he is going to give the Suns what they need as a guy who comes in, plays good, solid, hard defense, hard-nosed, can play a couple different positions, and is a good enough shooter where he's going to be able to knock down wide-open jump shots that a guy like Steve Nash is going to afford you.
Yep. And you can already see the bond that's developed between Raja Bell and his former teammate in Dallas, Steve Nash. They spend a lot of time together off the court, so they have a real friendship there, and that certainly is going to pay off on the court. Boris Diaw checks out. Brian Grant returning for the orange team, who leads the white squad by 3, 47-44.
Tom, now Al McCoy is on our left. He is on our left.
And there's James
Al
Jones.
McCoy.
Almost
Zingo to string.
Or according to Vinny, strings go the zings. Vinny had a little trouble with that one.
That's good.
Al McCoy joining us courtside here at McHale Center. And, Al, you've been here all week. What have you seen from the Suns here at training camp?
Well, I think what we've seen here right now is that we've got some guys that can score the basketball. How about Raja Bell? He's 4 out of 5 from three-point range already, and that's nice to see.
And just wait till he plays on Steve Nash's team.
That's right.
Yeah. Many people forgetting coming back for the Suns this season off the bench or possibly even at that 2 position. I think he would like to have the starting nod as much as Raja Bell, but certainly some options for Mike D'Antoni, Al.
Well, I think a lot of these new faces will pop up. Eddie House making a nice steal, and he's had a good training camp. The former Arizona State University performer, and obviously he likes to shoot the basketball and does a pretty good job of it.
Yeah. Well, why wouldn't he? That's what he does best out here. I
Right.
played with him in Miami, like I said, and that was one guy who can come down and does a good job off the dribble, can get his own shot off. Not very big guy, but quick enough where he can not only a good standstill shooter, but also can use the dribble and get his own shot off.
That's a good point. He's been in the league for 5 years. Last year was with 3 different teams. I think maybe he may have found a spot with the Suns. I think he might fit in nicely.
Well, if you can't play here, you can't play anywhere, Al.
Better write that down. Shooter. Remember that. Better write that down.
Al, we talked about it off the top of this broadcast here on Suns.com, but Amari Stoudemire in that knee situation. What have you heard, and what do you see as the scenario over the next couple of weeks with Amari?
Well, I don't think anybody really knows. A lot of decisions have yet to be made on whether they're just going to continue to let him rest the knee, whether they're going to do some exploratory surgery. I don't think anybody has made that decision. I think we'd like to see a decision made pretty soon, and I know the coaching staff would, but I think right now it's a wait-and-see situation, so I guess you just keep your fingers crossed.
Yep. Because that would be a big void to fill, as Dejon Thompson went to the hoop and came away with the NBA-style wedgie. Ball got trapped there between the rim and the backboard, so we'll have a jump ball. But certainly, Al, we talked with Sean Mayer right before the start of this one, too. You just don't want to see any injuries in this game and anything mounting in that department for the Suns as they head toward the preseason. But, you look at the regular season schedule, and the Suns have an opportunity. 12 of their first 16 games will be played at home as Raja goes deep for 3 again.
He's 5 of 6 now, Tom. He can definitely, he was 40% from three-point range with Utah last year. He's going to be an important cog. He may be the biggest surprise. I'm talking about Raja Bell as Nash knocks one down.
Yep. And again, not just on the offensive end, but the guy can D it up as Eddie House hits front iron. Here comes Leandro Barbosa. Al, how do you feel about Leandro and his skills? This is a guy who just, this is make or break season for him, but James Jones lights up the three.
Well, I think it's a big year for Barbosa. Dan, I think this is the last year of his contract, so I think he's definitely going to have to show that he can contribute and play, so it's going to be a big season for LB.
Raja Bell ducks in, finds Dijon Thompson, and Nash fights with his own teammate there, James Jones, for the rebound, and back comes Boris Diaw for Raja Bell.
Well, I'm impressed with Raja,
Yes.
not only with his shooting ability, but he's been able to, the last couple times down, we saw him put the ball on the floor, one time getting all the way to the basket, throwing it to Dijon Thompson, that time swinging it over to Dijon. So he's not only a good shooter, but he's shown he can make plays with the basketball.
He's going to be a big contributor, I think, and you look out, we don't know what the Amari Stoudemire situation is going to be, but you have to be pretty thankful. You have some guys like Kurt Thomas and Brian Grant, and Pat Burke has had a good training camp here this week. He's the biggest guy on the roster at 6'11", and he has shown that he can shoot the basketball.
Al, looking back to last season, the 62 wins, sweeping past Memphis in the first round, defeating Dallas in 6 games, and going to the Western Conference Finals. Suns didn't make it to the finals, and you've called 2 seasons where they did, but how do you rank last season in terms of seasons that you have called in terms of excitement?
Well, I've got to be nice because
Al,
the guy
I'm sitting
said
right here.
is right here. The 92-93 team, I think, if you were to break it down, probably is the best ball club the Suns have ever had. And they did go to the NBA Finals. Last year was great, but we have to say, even though they won 62, they didn't quite make it to the Finals, and that 92-93 team did. So until this Suns aggregation shows us they can get back to the Finals, I don't think we can put them ahead of that 92-93 team. Did I say the right
That's
thing?
why I love you, Alex.
All right.
And they had a little personality on that team,
Yes.
starting with Charles, going down the line with Dan Marley, Danny Ainge, Kevin Johnson,
Well,
and the rest.
It was a great team, and I know, and I don't say this just because Dan's here, but I think Dan agrees. Everybody on that ball club thought they had the best team in the NBA, and I'm not sure they didn't.
Well, I think we did. We had the best record and got ourselves in a hole with Chicago. Went to Chicago, won 2 out of 3. I thought we could have won 3 out of 3, and then Paxson hits that shot, and if he doesn't hit that, maybe we go to a Game 7 in America West Arena, and I'm happy for the rest of my life. But now I'm miserable and think about it every day, so price you got to pay.
How about Danny Ainge? He still wakes up in the middle of the night wondering why he wasn't out there with a hand in the face of John Paxson.
He still blames Charles or something.
Yeah,
you know
right.
Danny ain't going to blame himself.
But it's been a good training week here, Tom, and I think that we all agree a lot has been accomplished, and now you've got 8 preseason games.
Starting in Seattle against the Sonics, and they come home to take on the Clippers. Brian Grant fills it up. Again, this is a guy who can step out and hit that 17, 18-footer. You mentioned camp here in Tucson. Normally it's been held up north in Flagstaff, and now we're hearing rumblings that next year, Al, may be headed to Italy for the preseason, for training camp.
I think that probably is almost a done deal. There's been no official announcement. Of course, Mike D'Antoni is a living legend in Italy, so the Suns would certainly be a natural team to be there.
Be quite the road trip. We'll see how many they take along with them.
You mean it'd be further than our hotel to the arena here?
Depending on that construction on Campbell. Sean Marion lays it in. A little under 2.5 minutes to play here in the third quarter. The Suns scrimmage, and it's Nash setting up Pat Burke.
Well, there's Pat Burke showing us he can do it inside. He earlier hit some outside shots. He's had a good camp, and I remember him when he was with Orlando when he came in the league. He played just a year, then he's been in Europe. And I know the Suns like the way he played. There's a guy that could be a sleeper also.
Well, as a big guy in this team, you could live off of pick and rolls with Steve Nash. Kurt Thomas stepping back, being able to hit the jump shot as Barbosa shows what he can do on the defensive end. But like you said, it's Pat Burke rolling the basket. You got to pay so much attention to Steve Nash that these big guys are going to get a lot of wide open looks at the basket.
Not many players quicker than Leandro Barbosa when you get the steal and take it down to the other end. And, you know, he does have some deficiencies on defense, but he can play the passing lane. Sometimes gets caught gambling, though. Eddie House one-on-one against Nash. Whips it over to Dijon Thompson. And Jimmy Jackson could not neutralize Dijon, who fills it up. And a minute 25, 60-55, Orange team leading here in the third quarter. Burke comes up a little short. You look at James Jones out there, and he has a lot of the same physical attributes of Joe Johnson.
And he can definitely shoot the basketball.
Yep. Both about 6'8", and all waiting to see what kind of success, if any, Joe Johnson will have in Atlanta with the Hawks. Barbosa, after coming away with a steal and the bucket, then hits the big shot for three.
You see a guy there we haven't talked a whole lot about is Jim Jackson with a very unselfish pass, making the extra pass to Barbosa in the corner, and Jim's going to be another big part of this team again this year. Another guy who can come in and play a couple different positions, a tough guy, a veteran, and knows how to play.
He's just Mr. Dependable.
Brian Grant looking for Sean Marion. Here comes Barbosa again. 3-on-2 fast break and the decision making.
Yeah, Leandro should have rewarded Jim Jackson in the corner. Jim was standing right where he was standing last time down and looked him off and tried to give it to Burke. And a bad decision by Barbosa, Tom.
Interesting camp, as we know. There's been a change in the NBA where you can have 13 players now in uniform, and then the development league, you can send 2 players there. The Suns are involved with Albuquerque in that NBA development league. So most of these players we're seeing here now probably will have some affiliation with the ball club.
Yep. And you mentioned, too, how deep the Suns team will be this year. You know, really last season went 7-8 deep. Mike D'Antoni says he'll go 9 or 10 deep this year. So they're going to be fighting for playing time. And Mike said, you know, that might be the most critical part of training camp and preseason is how everybody falls into line in terms of that depth chart. Into the corner. And hacked in the act there was James Jones by Sean Marion. And Jones should get 3 free throws here with 2 seconds to go here in the third quarter.
You know, I know Dan will probably echo this statement. We don't know what the situation is going to be with Amari Stoudemire. But, Dan, I think you'd agree, it's not what you do at the beginning of the season. It's what you do at the end.
Yep. You know, we all know it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. So the most important thing is to find out exactly what's wrong, get it fixed, and get him back when he's healthy and when he can come back and play the whole year or what's the rest of the year. And this Suns team, it's deep. I mean, they got guys who come in and fill it up a little bit and hold the fort, as they say, until Amari gets back. And we just hope he gets back soon.
And James Jones, who you talked about, you know, is a player. He played 4 years collegiately at Miami, was with Indiana, and he has a lot of natural ability.
Hit all 3 free throws there. Raja Bell's offering sent away by Barbosa to end the third quarter. And our thanks to the voice of the Suns, Al McCoy, for joining us here at McHale Center. When do you head back up to Phoenix?
Oh, I don't know. I may stay down in
another
Tucson.
couple weeks.
Just drive around town and see what's going on. It's going to be a fun year, guys.
Drive back and forth to McHale Center in the hotel a couple more times.
It's going to be a fun year.
All right, thanks. Al McCoy joining us here on Suns.com, headed to the fourth and final quarter of the Suns scrimmage. Would you like to talk about the 11-game ticket pack?
The 11-game ticket pack. You want me to? Sure. The Phoenix Suns 11-game packs are a great way to see Steve Nash, Amari Stoudemire, Sean Marion, and the rest of the Suns take on some of the NBA's best and brightest stars. Enjoy exclusive benefits such as guaranteed access to playoff tickets, as well as your same seats for all 11 games. Choose from 3 different 11-game plans starting at just $335. Plus, for every pack purchase, you'll receive a $10 Suns gift card, good towards concessions or merchandise at America West Arena. Order your 11-game pack online at Suns.com today or call 602-379-SUNS to place your order by phone. Phoenix Suns, making basketball fun again.
Very nicely done. So now at halftime, you're shooting the threes.
Yeah.
Raising money. Every shot made was a grand, right? And where was that money coming from?
From the Suns.
From the Suns. And I believe
Mr.
our
Sarver.
next guest, Robert Sarver.
And,
so you had some money taken out of your pocket at halftime.
Steve Kerr hasn't lost a step. then he brings his son in and nails the last jumper.
I know. I talked to him 2 days ago. I said, you know what? Why don't you play in the scrimmage? The fans of Tucson will love to see. He says, no, I'm not going to embarrass myself.
Probably wouldn't be able to walk for a week afterwards. So.
Yeah. And then he comes out and makes 5 out of 5 and brings his kid out who's about 11 who knocks the 6th one down.
So how much did that cost you overall? Vinny hit 5 out of 6. Marley went 3 out of 6.
13. I think 13,000.
Yep.
And we got 7,000 tickets here too, which was pretty good.
How is it being back in Tucson, the native Tucsonan, and what kind of reception has the Suns team gotten this week?
Really very good. We got a lot of fans last year with the team, and coming here for training camp was kind of like coming home for me. I got a lot of good memories here. My family bought season tickets here when the arena first opened, and I remember sitting here watching the first shot ever made in McHale Center, and had a lot of good memories watching games with my dad. My dad loved to go to U of A basketball games, so it's a good place for me to come back to.
Actually had a lot of fun earlier today getting Robert Sarver together along with Lute Olson and Steve Kerr, the big Tucson trio, for an upcoming Suns television special. And you know, those are some great stories between the 3 of you, because it was really the 3 of you that helped bring that ownership group to Phoenix and to help finalize that deal.
Oh, yeah. You know, it's funny, too, because it happened so fast. Like 3 weeks after I met Steve, we had a deal to buy the team, and I remember the two of us, we just put up a check for $10 million for a deposit, and we walked out of the Suns' offices, and he looked at me and goes, "Did we just do what I think we did?" And I go, "I don't know. Did we?" He goes, "Yeah, I think we just bought a basketball team." I go, "Yeah, I guess we did. Now what do we do?"
Well, you go out and win 62 games and have a heck of a year, and we're going to do it again this year.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Obviously, with Amari, it's bad news for the team right now, but I think everybody's got to be very enthused with what we've done with this team. And I know I am with the pickup of a couple guys. Rajah Bell having a great shooting night tonight. I think the guy's going to have a fantastic year for us. I think James Jones a very good young player. Eddie House, a guy who's going to bring a lot of excitement. So I think we did a great job this year bringing some players.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if we had a few questions here early, about replacing some of the three-point shooting, I think we kind of saw some of the guys that can really put it up right now. And even watching Kurt Thomas make that 10, 12, 14-foot jump shot, I mean, that's something we didn't have last year.
Yeah, he's going to be perfect with Steve Nash on the pick and rolls, because Kurt not only is going to set a mean pick, but he's going to be able to step back and be able to shoot that 15 to 20-foot jump shot.
You talked about the three-pointer. Robert Sarver, 4 of 6 for Rajah Bell. Leandro Barbosa, 3 of 4 from behind the line. And, Eddie hasn't lit it up like he will come the regular season as Leandro comes up a little short, but certainly some bright spots for this team offensively. We were talking about next year with Al McCoy, and how much truth is there to the fact that this team could be headed to Europe for training camp?
I hope so. I went there with my wife on our honeymoon, and I've been trying to get her back, but since we have these little kids, she's afraid to leave them. But I think
if she doesn't want to go, I'll go with her.
Yeah. And if she goes with you, like, she's going to come back for me.
So Kurt Thomas out there, along with Lever Pedroza, Barbosa, Jim Jackson, and James Jones, 5 on the floor for the white squad. And it's Jim Jackson dropping the shoulder, get it over to Kurt Thomas, who fills it up. We will see a lot of that this year.
Oh, totally, yeah. And he, just in the practices, when they first started practicing the Suns, people were saying, look like Kurt Thomas and Steve Nash have been playing together for the last 3 years. I mean, they're really going to do well together.
Another thing about Kurt Thomas, he's going to bring a toughness to the team as far as his ability to go into the post, guard the big guys, and not take any stuff from anybody else. He's going to take a lot of the pressure off Amari down in the low post.
He reminds me a lot of a Danny Ainge, where you hated to play against him, but you loved it when he was on your team. Eddie House lining up the three-pointer.
There we go, Eddie. Way to go.
Eddie wanted 3, but the official just gave him 2. Robert, talk about the character that you guys added, not just the talent and trying to replenish the offensive supply, but the character guys, Brian Grant, Rajah Bell, Kurt Thomas, James Jones, on down the line.
Such a pleasure. I've got to talk to him a little bit, and we just got some great people on the team, and I think it's going to pay dividends for us. That was one of the things I saw, with San Antonio when I watched our series against them. I said, what do they really have that we don't have? Well, they have more depth, and they just have great guys that are all willing to do whatever they each need to do to make the team win.
Boy, and that'll really be tested again.
And I think we've got that too here.
Yeah, and that'll be tested again as they add Michael Finley and Nick Van Exel. What can you tell us about that, the recruiting pitch to Michael Finley, and kind of your thoughts when he chose San Antonio? I think most people felt if it wasn't going to be the Suns, it was going to be Miami.
Well, I don't know. I kind of thought maybe it was us or San Antonio, because when we met with them, I said, what is it you're looking for? What's the most important thing for you? And he says, I want to win a championship. And so when he said, I want to win a championship, you got to think the team that's predicted to win the championship is the team that just won it, the defending champions. So I got a little worried about San Antonio, but I kind of thought we had a leg up because I thought he would have had a more prominent role with us than he would have with Miami or San Antonio. Of course, he was used to playing with Steve Nash, but I think at the end of the day, he just decided, hey, I'm going to go where I think I got the best chance of winning the title. And to his credit, he did go to San Antonio and took less money than if he would have went to Miami.
You wonder, too, if there are any physical limitations for him, because if you look at the playing time, I mean, certainly he could be playing 15, 20 minutes a night on some occasions.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting.
Exactly. But, I think part of the thing in the summer, with the whole issue with Joe and how that got protracted out with the collective bargaining, we kind of forgot a little about who we had, and one of the persons we forgot about was Jimmy Jackson. Yep. And if you look out here tonight and see, how he's shooting, I mean, Jimmy's a good player.
Yep.
Well, Jimmy's a great player. Not only is his shooting ability, he's great with the basketball, good team leader, plays a lot of different positions. guards the ball well, can post up people. So Jim Jackson's a guy we're not talking a lot about because there's other people out here that we want to see, but he's going to be one of the main cogs in this team all year long.
Yeah. Yeah, you talk about players who you take for granted. Sean Marion, who's already chalked up 23 points in this scrimmage, and you tend to gloss over the return of Sean Marion, the return of Steve Nash, Mike D'Antoni bringing his style in. And I think that's really what attracted the fans last season in Phoenix, what these Tucsonans are seeing here and saw it last season as well, is that flashy style, the offense, and kind of a collegiate atmosphere too. And I want you to talk about having grown up here at McHale Center, watching the games, and now seeing that sort of atmosphere at the America West Arena.
It is. It's getting there. And that was kind of one of the things that, I guess when I kind of took over as managing partner and I got to the games, I was kind of looking for a little more of that because most of the games I went to were at the U of A and everyone's standing and, it's so crazy. And, I kind of think people are going to do that, and I kind of look down my aisle down there on the court and, the average age about 65. The guys just aren't going to jump up and go crazy like the like the students here at the U of A. But I think there is a lot more energy in the arena.
Well, we certainly saw the power of Robert Sarver because that was one of the most magnificent moments I think of the season. Game 5 at the America West Arena, and you brought all the fans up on their feet, and they stayed on their feet. I have not seen that in an NBA arena.
Well, at some of the college arenas, they do it the whole game, every game. And I just, God, our guys have worked so hard all year. I mean, let's just show them. It kind of started a little bit because my mom called me before the game and she said, Robert, if you guys lose this game and your season's over, you need to go tell those players what a terrific job they did for you, and you give them a lot of words of encouragement, and I want you to get them all a treat. And I said, Mom, I don't know what you mean by treat because, in the NBA, treat's like a Rolls Royce or something, so I'm not sure about a treat. But
convertible Bentley.
Yeah, exactly. But, boy.
Tischer gives it a home.
Tischer's going to hurt somebody.
He's dangerous.
He is a mountain of a man.
It's a freak of nature.
Well, you screwed up because you made the seats in America West too comfortable now, so nobody's going to want to stand up. Those courtside seats are great.
They are nice. They are nice. Yeah.
And I believe you have added some more front row seats.
We added some more.
And, those sold pretty quickly.
Look at Steve Nash. He's unreal.
Yep.
How does a guy his size go in and out of that lane all the time and never lose the ball and get a shot block?
He's deceptive. He's like Chris Mullen. When I was playing with Chris Mullen, the guy wasn't very fast, but he always got his shot off, and you just couldn't believe he did the things he did. You'd look after the movie and say, what did he do? And he still gets around just like that.
Yeah, I know.
Well, and I'm sure, Robert, you remember, too, when Steve Nash was playing for Santa Clara his freshman year, hit 6 free throws in the final 30 seconds to knock the U of A Wildcats out of the first round.
I know.
And now he's one of your allies.
Yeah, he's my ally, he's my savior.
Ball knocked into the corner, Boris Diaw.
And you know what? When Stat gets back, he's ready to go. I mean, I was with him yesterday talking to him, and, obviously he's a little down because he just loves to play. He wants to play. He says, I was just looking forward to getting out there and just killing people this year. I just want to dominate. I want that ring so bad. And, he's got all that energy bottled up, and when he's back, whenever that is, he's going to be ready to go.
Yep. Yeah, he certainly was a madman in terms of workouts during the offseason with Phil Weber, both in Phoenix, and then even took Phil Weber to Florida with him. DeJon Thompson with the rebound, and now here comes Eddie House. Working on Nash, gets the Tischer screen. Tischer can't grab the pass, and here comes Barbosa.
Self-defense is going right for his nose.
Look at here. He puts his body. Unbelievable.
Such a pleasure to watch.
He is.
We've seen a lot of passion from the Tucson fans this week for this Suns team, and in particular, Steve Nash. And a little push from behind. James Jones shoving Lucas Tischer away. 5:09 to go here in the fourth quarter.
Nash looks tired. I got $20 on the Orange team. They got to get him out of the game.
A 1-point ball game.
I know. Arveroni's got to get Nash out.
All right.
He's killing me.
Robert Sarver, we will let you go. Thank you so much for joining us here courtside at McHale Center. And
thanks for the party last night.
Yeah,
good steak.
That
was
you're
good.
Welcome.
Man.
Yeah, I saw you had a couple of those steaks. You're still eating pretty good, but you must be working out. You're in good shape.
Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm waiting for that call.
I like the Magician. My kids like the Magician the best. That was a great party.
That gold dollar thing he was playing around with.
He was pulling off some tricks that just had our heads spinning.
Yeah. Okay, guys.
All
We're
right,
looking forward to
thanks,
seeing
man.
you this season. November 1st. Let's get it on.
It'll be fun.
Against guess who? The Dallas Mavericks
I know.
at the America West Arena. In the corner, Barbosa. Tischer scrapping with his teammate Eddie House, and up ahead now it's Raja Bell. Raja drives on Barbosa. 4.5 minutes to go.
Stop
and
it, Raja.
with the reversal.
Can't stop Raja.
Man, we have seen all facets of that offensive game. The three-pointers, the drives to the hoop, and then the quick answer from Steve Nash.
We're going to have one of those things at America West Arena every time Bell makes a shot like they do in Detroit,
Ding,
Big Ben.
ding,
Dong, dong.
Talk to Kip Helt. I'm sure he's coming up with something right now. What about Nash and what he did in the playoffs, Dan? The guy averaged 15 points in the regular season, averages 24 and 12 assists as Eddie House hits it from behind the line. Oh, James Jones on the takeoff.
He said all year long that Steve Nash is a guy who could average 20 points if he wanted to. That's just not his game. He'd rather get everybody else involved in the game, make sure everybody else is happy getting their shots. And, you know, when the team's not going well or things aren't going the way they think they should go, and Sean ain't hot or Amari's not hot or Joe's not hit, he's going to take over and he's going to shoot. He's the best shooter on the team last year and this year. No doubt about it. He's the best jump shooter on the team. So he could take over the games offensively, but that's not the type of player he is. He'd much rather get everybody else involved. So we're going to see games where Steve Nash is going to score 25, 30, 35 points. But for the most part, he's going to average 15, 16 and his 10, 11 assists and just get everybody else involved. And we now have Aaron Nelson next to us.
I wanted to get in first.
Hey, guys.
I couldn't once introduce a guest.
What's going on?
Hi, Aaron.
Happy to be here. You guys look great. You guys are in better shape than
Do you know Aaron's engaged?
Yeah, and do you know how he got engaged? Can we tell that story on Suns.com?
Sure.
Aaron?
Do you know
He went brain dead?
Yeah. Well,
I got the 7-year itch.
okay, you know what? I like watching Dave
We got
Grapp, our
medication for
videographer,
that.
because Grapp can hear us. He's enjoying this as much as we. So, have you heard the story how he actually got engaged? I don't think Dan knows.
He doesn't want to know.
Fantasy football draft with the first pick, with his future fiance there as his co-coach for the fantasy football team. He selected Jess.
Nice.
How
Isn't that
about
romantic?
That is romantic.
Her dad on a team, her dad and her sister sitting right next to her in the draft.
Yep.
She was excited.
And he was videotaping the deal, weren't you? You have this on
Videotaped it.
tape. I think we actually have
She almost
proof.
screwed it up. She went back and changed the camera. She said, hey, we don't have everybody in the picture. And I said, what are you doing? Leave it focused over by us.
Suns head athletic trainer Aaron Nelson joining us. And apropos, with about 3 minutes to go, we'll finish this broadcast where we started, getting an update on. Do you want something before we talk Amari?
I'm just going to tell him.
Oh,
I'm going to give
okay.
you some advice.
Oh, okay.
Have a lot of
Oh,
ice
Lord.
for Eddie House's elbow.
Oh.
The guy gets up a lot
The guy
of
gets
shots.
a lot of shots up, so he's going to need the ice bucket or something to plant that right elbow.
That was marriage advice coming up, so went
No,
right
I'm not
past
the,
that.
I'm not the
Okay.
right one for that.
When he said ice, I got nervous.
All right, give us the lowdown.
What do you want to know?
Oh, come on. What Amari? We got to
Come
know.
on, it's just between me, you, Dan,
And everybody
Grappy.
watching. And the 5 people.
Yep.
What?
5 people on the web.
Oh, okay. Amari. I mean, it's just we're just going around trying to get some opinions and figure out what the best option for Amari is. You know, he's got some soreness in his knee, and we've done some diagnostic tests. And as you've heard from reports before, one of our recommendations is do a diagnostic scope and figure out what we're actually dealing with. And if we do that, that's a 3 to 4 week protocol recovery. And then, you know, obviously if they find something in there that's different, then it could be longer. But that's kind of the direction we're going at right now. And make sure we have all the everybody's kind of on the same page before they make a final decision on what's going on. And obviously the sooner the better. We can get him back and get him playing. He's been playing. He's been in camp. He's been here in and out all summer. And periodically he'll feel great, and then he'll have a little pain and goes back and forth. And we just want to address it now. He's 22 years old, and you know we don't want it to be a lingering thing with his career.
When were the first signs there for Amari that he was having problems with the knee?
Oh, I think, as far as I can remember, probably early August. So about 8 weeks ago, but primarily when he talked about it. It's been off and on, ongoing, and you know, we've just trying to treat it symptomatically.
How about the health of the rest of the team? How are they heading back to Phoenix after a full week of scrimmages and practices here in Tucson?
All the guys are ready to go back. You know, we've been here for 2 days. This is our last of our 2 days, but everybody's holding up very well. I think Coach Antoni's done a great job. Well, obviously him and his staff, and monitoring how much time they're actually doing on the court. You know, he's been very respectful with, obviously we have some veterans on the team that have some wear and tear, and they've actually been doing really well. You know, surprisingly enough. They're in this group of guys is awesome. I mean, no knock on any other year. Almost like that 92-93 team.
You know, you and Al McCoy, you guys
That was my
trying
first
to
year.
placate Dan
I was a
Marley.
23-year-old guy.
They know that team. We had a great team.
It was a great team.
Took him out to the bar.
I was about to say 23-year-old.
I was a 23-year-old kid. Dan took me
Dan
out
Marley
to the
and
bars.
Charles Barkley. That
Bought me
is
my first
scary.
beer.
And he's still getting married.
You're lucky to be alive at this point.
Dan was telling me back then not to get married. I was 23.
That's right.
12 years later.
Hey, you're all right, though.
So you guys, as far as the two-a-days, in the morning it was a lot of conditioning. I saw you guys had, like 15 stations
15
set
stations, basically, so we get 45 seconds at each station with about a 15-20-second rest. We did that 3 times, and the mornings were basically shooting, instructional stuff, and the harder stuff came in the afternoon with the scrimmaging and more of the conditioning aspect of it. But the guys held up very well, and no complaints. Everybody's been pretty happy.
You might have a debate, though, from Kurt Thomas and Brian Grant. I saw them in those morning sessions waving off some of those stations.
And there's a video of that on Suns.com, Tom.
Oh, that's right, of the workouts.
Yes.
Shameless plug by Steve Coe.
What's up for the Pittsburgh Steelers in San Diego? Is that what, Monday night?
Monday night. Luckily enough, Coach D'Antoni canceled practice Monday just so I could fly there and watch the game.
How nice is
Robert
that?
Sarver got me 4 tickets.
Is that right?
And I'm going to be sitting there in the
Who
Chargers
got you
bus.
4 tickets?
Robert Sarver.
So you're going to watch the game.
Big
That's
time.
sweet.
Yeah,
Good
so
for you.
I'm going to be there. I'm going to fly in Monday, come back early Tuesday morning for practice. So I won't miss a thing.
Man.
Go Steelers.
Steve Kerr addressing the crowd here at McHale Center. Yeah, I wanted to figure this out. So you drafted Jess, your fiance now, but you let Ben Roethlisberger go and never picked him up. I didn't quite
No,
understand.
he's on the squad.
Oh, he
Yeah.
wasn't
Ben's
initially.
our starting quarterback
Okay.
Monday night. So for fantasy this weekend. He's
Gotcha.
our-
Okay, just want to make sure we're covered there.
I think I have 4 Steelers on my squad.
Hey, speaking of ice, our guy here, Dan
Absolutely.
Marley, was shooting with Kerr, and the guys. These guys may be a little swollen from their halftime shootout. Were you in the locker room? You
I
missed
was
the
in the locker
halftime.
room. I
Oh, you
missed
missed
it.
the halftime shootout. Very
I put
impressive.
on an exhibition.
Hey, for all the fans that are
Speaking
actually
of an
watching this, I
exhibition.
don't know how red they noticed Dan's forearms are. Not only are they just ripped up from all the workouts he's been doing, but he actually played some golf the last few days, I'm guessing.
I played today.
He's very tan.
La Paloma.
La Paloma.
Yeah.
Home of
He's
the
almost
Phoenix Suns.
Cart path only killed me. Too much walking.
I heard he lost a lot of balls.
I don't know who's redder, him or Kempton. I don't know. They got this new thing out. It's called
Kempton's-
sunscreen.
Kempton's always red, though.
That's what I'm saying. All right, Aaron Nelson.
Aaron, let's get him healthy. Come on.
Let's have a good season, guys.
Let's do it. I'll see you around.
You guys are doing it.
Thanks for everything.
They're doing it.
Good
Mike-
luck with your first-round draft pick.
I appreciate it. You guys are flat out getting it done.
Yep.
We're doing it.
Live on Suns.com. Suns head athletic trainer Aaron Nelson joining us, giving us the very latest on the Amare Stoudemire situation with $1:03 to go here in the fourth quarter. And the Suns scrimmage here in Tucson, 81-79. You know who's really feeling the pressure right now, Dan Marley?
Tim Kempton.
Why?
Because he's got to give me $20 when the Orange team
Oh,
wins.
okay. Well, I'm talking about the head coaches here tonight. You've got Mark Ivaroni coaching as if it's Game 7 of the NBA Finals to our left. And over to our right, Alvin Gentry, who wants to out-coach Mark Ivaroni. Who can come up with the play of the night?
I hope Alvin Gentry does, because Tim is probably one of the tightest people I've ever met, and it's going to kill him to give me that $20.
Ivaroni's definitely a better coach.
Well, I don't know about that.
As long as we got Steve Nash in the game, I'm okay.
Look at this. The orange squad now coming out. They are feverish pitch there for Alvin Gentry. He is into this game. Don't tell him this is just a scrimmage. Then you got Phil Weber. It's actually almost as much fun to watch the assistant coaches take over these two
Phil
squads.
was looking like he was pointing down the white team. He's pointing at the blonde in the crowd.
Ain't that the truth? I don't know. Do we know whose ball it is? Minute
White
3?
ball.
We got to figure this out.
White ball?
White ball.
White ball? How did you guys figure that out? We're busy talking to Aaron
Tim-
Nelson
Tim's
about his
actually paying
upcoming
attention to the game.
nuptials.
They just called timeout after he made the free throws.
White ball, trailing by 2. All right, let's start with Tim Kempton. What are we going to get here?
If I was Ivaroni, I'd go with a pick and roll from Steve Nash and Kurt Thomas. Let Kurt pop back. Steve either take it to the basket, throw it to a trailing Tim Thomas. Tim Thomas.
Tim Thomas.
Holy cow.
Nice.
Kurt Thomas.
Wow.
And if he knocks it down, if they rotate, I would throw it over Jim Jackson in the right corner for a 3, and that's all she wrote.
All right, here we go. Let's keep an eye on Kurt Thomas.
That'll never
No,
happen.
he'll get a
With
pick from James Jones. Nash having
There
trouble
you
getting
go.
into the lane. held there by a combination of Sean Marion and
Actually,
Raja
a good
Bell and
play,
company.
though, by Ivoroni, because Kurt Thomas got a back pick on Jim Jackson's guy. Steve Nash was going to go to the baseline, throw a cross-court pass to the wide-open Jim Jackson in the opposite corner for a three. Tricky.
Is that trickery?
That's trickery. Ooh.
I think it's tomfoolery.
Tomfoolery. Nash is going to make this, and we'll all be tied up, and then...
And what do we get overtime pay here, Steve Kowick? No.
We're not. No, thank God. We don't have overtime.
Nash, Cash again at the line, as always, and we are tied at 81. So now in the front court comes Eddie House and the Orange squad trying to reclaim the lead. Nash hawking House defensively. Wants a screen from Brian Grant. And now it's Marion. Face-to-face with James Jones. Under 10 on the shot clock for Marion. Goes at Jones. Jones gets a piece of Sean Marion, who now takes a knee at the other end of the court. White team gets it inside. It's James Jones all alone from Jimmy Jackson. So Jones defensively on Sean Marion and then hits the layup to give the white squad a 2-point lead. And
Sean got hit in the nether regions.
Going to Phoenix.
There's an exciting new sound in travel. Introducing Ding. Get exclusive low fares sent directly to your desktop. Deals that are available only for a limited time and only by downloading Ding at southwest.com.
Here we go. Tonight's scrimmage, raising just under $24,000. In addition, Suns donated another $13,000. That was courtesy of the Dan Marley, Vinny Del Negro, Steve Kerr halftime shootout. All proceeds going towards the new U of A practice facility. Thank you, Robert Sarver and company. All right.
How's U of A going to be this year? How's U of A going to be this year, Tom?
How are they every year, Tim?
Pretty good.
Jeez. Lute Olson building the dynasty in the desert.
Raj, I got 20
This
bucks
guy
on
is-
you guys, man.
You got it.
Hey, that's tampering right there.
I don't care.
You can't tell the players now. Now we got to report them to the NBA office.
I don't care.
Raja Bell walks by and Dan Marley telling him he's got 20 bucks riding on this thing.
I'm turning you in to David Stern. Not going to matter.
He's got bigger fish to fry than me.
Who is that, Stu Jackson? No, who's the disciplinarian now?
Oh.
Marion takes the lob feed, and this time the foul will go against James Jones. So Sean just needed a couple of minutes to catch his breath. And now Marion will head to the line.
Good foul.
Try to tie this thing up. Nash was in there scraping away at it.
24.6. This way the white team gets the last shot.
Took
Very
math
nice.
in Notre Dame, did you, Tim?
Marion calmly sinks the first one.
Didn't spend all the time sneaking over to the girls' St. Mary's. What is that over there?
St. Mary's. Very good, Dan. You
Thanks.
spent a couple of nights down there from
That's why
Central Michigan.
That's
huh?
why Dan didn't go there.
Yeah.
It's like the girls are on a different campus.
What?
No, go.
That's
I'm
that's
I'm going
ludicrous.
to that powerhouse, Central Michigan.
The Chippewas.
Ludicrous.
right.
We played Notre Dame when I was at Central Michigan.
Yeah.
We lost by 2. I didn't play. I had a stress fracture in my right metatarsal.
I thought it was the patella tendon.
Come on,
Here we
Dia.
go. Oh, he got fouled.
This time he got the screen from Kurt Thomas.
Oh, he
Time
got
out.
fouled.
1 second, Butler for the win. And we are tied at 83.
Do you believe
and
that?
it's decision time
No, that's
for
no
the
decision.
referees, the coaches, the players.
Let's go on
What
down
a
the hill.
perfect way to end it. Tied at 83. That way everybody leaves a winner. And I think that's how they're going to end it here. Tied at 83 in the Suns scrimmage at McHale Center. That's a perfect ending.
That's like kissing your sister, Dano.
Yeah, but that's a happy bus ride home for all the guys. No
ain't
trash
happy.
talking.
Holy mackerel, Leander.
Come on. It's all about team chemistry here, guys. And I think Jack McCullum did a fine job coaching over there from Sports Illustrated. You'll be able to catch that on SI.com as he has been behind the scenes all week. But Dan Marley, Tim Kempton, we have had the flurry of guests here from start to finish, starting with Mike D'Antoni, Robert Sarver, Steve Kerr, Vinny Del Negro, Al McCoy, Aaron Nelson. Did I forget anybody?
Van Arsdale.
Dick Van Arsdale. And, of course, we had Tim Kempton and Jamie Morris at halftime.
Bryce, are you killing me, man? killing me.
It was designed to get
No,
the
you're not killing me. You played well.
Oh,
You shot the ball well.
Thank you.
House was killing me a little bit, but it's all right. At least we broke even, so that's fine. Way to go, man.
Yep. Nicely done. We see the inside, the outside game. How comfortable are you in this system already? It looks and appears to be pretty comfortable already.
Well, in practice it's not as wide open as that, so I was getting a little frustrated. But tonight, when it opened up and we actually started running, it felt pretty nice.
Yep.
No, he played this well, and he wasn't even on Steve Nash's team. Wait till he starts playing with Steve. It's going to be really, it's going to be really easy.
Yeah, it was. Hey, I'll tell you what, guarding him is ridiculously hard. So I'm looking forward for the opportunity to actually be on his side and get some wide open looks, some easy layups, stuff like that.
Well, then we saw you down there battling with Pat Burke, so we never know if you're going to be covering a point guard or a center or what might be your defensive position.
The beauty of our system is we play so many guys that are versatile that you can afford to switch once in a while. I know ideally I'm not going to want to be on a big fella down battling on the block, but worst case scenario, we'll switch it and try to get me off and and get out in transition.
Give us a summary on this week here in Tucson. Constructively criticize the positives and negatives as you guys head back to Phoenix.
You know what? I thought camp was great. Coach D'Antoni did a great job of keeping us fresh, not really wearing us out in the morning with too much talking and too much standing around, keeping us loose, getting a lot of shots up, and in the afternoon just kind of letting us go and feel our way through the offense, not stopping it and breaking us down. I've got nothing but positives to say about this week.
I got nothing.
Anything
I'm excited.
else for Raja?
No, I'm excited he's here. I think you're going to have a great year. You've got a great area here in Phoenix. The fans are going to love the way you play, and you're in a perfect situation for your game. So I'm just going to wish you the best of luck and look forward to watching you play all year long.
I appreciate that. I'm excited.
From a media standpoint, we love your charisma, too.
Thanks, man.
All right, Raja Bell joining us here. Fine performance from Raja, and the Suns walk away fairly unscathed, no major injuries. Sean Marion a little banged up there in the final minute, and Eddie House joining us now here on Suns.com, live on the internet. Eddie, how was this scrimmage for you? What did the Suns accomplish here tonight?
I think we accomplished a lot. Our offense looked a whole lot better than what we've been looking. Our defense was good, and we had fun out there. I think we accomplished a lot, and we're just going to keep getting better.
You got to get some shots up, though,
16 FGAs, Eddie.
That's why you're here. You need to shoot the ball. So
Wait a second. 8 rebounds, 5 assists to go along with his 12 points. Talk about this system, though. I mean, this is tailor-made for your kind of a game, isn't it?
I think it's tailor-made for anybody that can shoot the ball. Coach lets everybody get shots. He said everybody has the green light, so any open shot you could take it, and as a player, you love to hear that. So you just got to take advantage of it, know when and where to take your shots, and play within the game and have fun with it.
You guys okay with the 83-83 finish? Dan Marley doesn't agree with me. I think that's great for team chemistry.
I would have loved to go to overtime and win the game, but at the same time, I think both teams were even like that, so we could finish it like that.
I had $20 on the orange team.
I was with you. I had that 22.
Good to be back at McHale Center. The fans gave you a little hard time early on, but that's
all right.
That's to be expected for a former Sun Devil.
Yeah, that just let me know they remember.
Yep.
And, I gave them the pitchforks when I came out. So
there you
go.
It was all good. No wonder they booed. All right, Eddie, it's great to have you in a Suns uniform, and have a great season.
Thank you.
Look forward to watching you.
So,
all right, Eddie House joining us here from McHale Center as we put a wrap on this one. Live on Suns.com. Tom Leander, Dan Marley, said Sabalos joined us momentarily, and now will help us put a wrap on this. Said Sabalos with this game ending in an 83-83 deadlock. Who jumped out at you tonight?
Well, Dan shot the ball really well. I thought he should have backed up.
Vinny Delmegro.
I like JJ, man. James played really well. I really thought he played well. I knew he was a great athlete.
Who's JJ?
Really
James Jones?
James Jones.
Oh, I thought
How about the defense down there on Sean Marion? A critical shot
It
down.
was a great defensive play. And also, when Eddie House went to the basket, I think it was a minute left in the game, Steve Nash got a key block.
Yep.
But like I said, James played pretty well. JJ, Jimmy Jackson, we know is going to play solid, and he's a veteran. He's been through it all, but I thought the guy came in and really played well. Maybe he might not get the minutes that he's used to getting, but it's going to be a great learning experience from him, and he's going to do some good things this year.
Yeah, Raja Bell lightening up from three-point range. That guy is going to be such an asset for this team this season.
Your guy, LB.
LB, see, you know.
Leandro Barbosa played really well. I thought he did the things he was supposed to do, and I thought the way he went transition with the basketball was excellent, too. Steve is a guy who's known for pushing it up, as Nash always does, but LB really pushes up and makes some good decisions, too.
Yep. All right, you headed
Well, I
back
thought
up
you
to
did
Phoenix,
an excellent
big fella?
job, too, today. Just
Did you?
walking around the court and doing what you do.
I mean,
you are really good.
I had to encourage you to back up a little bit before you made some threes.
You've always been my shooting coach. Just didn't throw me the ball enough. Never pass me the ball.
How many threes in your career?
I don't know.
How many from me?
1,000.
How many from me?
2.
Look at this. You know, I think we're getting in the way of Dan Marley's social
Let me
life
do my
right
work
now.
here. Come on, Tom.
Yeah. All right, Sid, thanks for joining us. Dan Marley.
Tom, I wish I could tell you it was fun, buddy.
Can we sign off here?
Yeah, let's get out of
On
here.
Suns.com, they tie up at 83 apiece in this Suns scrimmage. Sean Marion leading the way, leading all scorers with 29 points. Also had 8 rebounds.
www.goodbye.
Steve Nash had 22 and 11. 22 points, 11 assists. And how about Kurt Thomas in his debut for the Suns? 12 and 11. That could be his numbers pretty much on average this season. 12 points, 11 rebounds.
Well be,
yep,
Tom.
21 from
Very may
James
well be.
Jones, 8 of 14. And just as we're ready to say goodbye, Vinny Del Negro, final words, final thoughts?
Vinny, we're all gassed up. Let's
Oh, it was
head
good.
back
Everything was
up.
good. Yeah, everything was fine.
We
Good
gotta just
scrimmage.
figure
and
out how to
everything was
get
great.
on 10 and get out of here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And,
Let's go back.
find
Good
a-
scrimmage. No injuries.
Yeah.
Everybody's fine.
Find a Whataburger
It was
or
nice to
whoever.
see.
Yep.
That's it. I mean, it was a good little scrimmage. I'm glad no one got injured.
Yeah.
And,
Unlike your golf outing, we did get the story.
When I hit the ball into the rocks. and
That
it
may have
bounced
been the
back.
highlight of our broadcast here.
Oh.
Yeah, now it's coming back
Classic.
to him.
Classic.
That we needed video of.
He was on his knees.
All right, we're putting a wrap on this because I got to head back up to Phoenix. My thanks to our producer, Steve Koek.
Good job,
my man,
Steve.
Dan Marley, Vinny Del Negro, the entire cast and crew here from McHale Center. We will see you this coming season in downtown Phoenix. It all kicks off with the Suns preseason on the 14th in Seattle, and then back home, their first preseason game at the America West Arena on the 15th against the LA Clippers. For Thunder Dan Marley, Tom Leander, good night from McHale.
Yeah, going to Phoenix.
There's an exciting new sound in travel. Introducing Ding. Get exclusive low fares sent directly to your desktop. Deals that are available only for a limited time and only by downloading Ding at southwest.com.